Neath Chen Chu, a hopeless virgin loser, the poorest of the poor, living in a shitty one-room apartment. His dad has already left to go and buy some milk, and if this was still not enough, his gold-digger girlfriend left him for a rich guy who used her in any way he wanted to. Yes, even at nights. But one day, Chen got bitten by a Godzilla disguised as a lizard pet, and somehow, Chen was now able to control the minds of anyone he likes, even the sexy ladies. Now, he can get stronger and richer than everyone else just by sitting and sipping tea, while he is constantly leveling up by controlling the Godzilla monster. This flip of his life happens when he was drawn to a sea iguana, who is an amphibious creature kept in a pet store. And if this was not enough, buying the sea iguana was almost like selling a kidney for Chen. But he still decided to buy it anyway, knowing that he will have to do more or jobs to afford his fees of the semester. But as luck would have it, the iguana suddenly attacked Chen when our boy was trying to feed the creature. The monster nabbed the hands of poor Chen, and blood started dropping from his hands like crazy. Desperate to free himself, Chen immediately slammed his phone into the head of the sea iguana. But just then, he felt a sharp pain into his head too, slamming down onto the ground and banging his head once again against his dining table. If this was not enough, he lost consciousness for a whole day and woke up when it was time for an evening news. We come to know that this was the year 2224, and strange species of animals have attacked the human race. The zoo, which was situated in Ning City, was attacked by a snake more than 100 meters long, and its origin was unknown. Hearing to the buzzy noise of the television, it was time for Chen to wake up as he slowly started getting conscious. But when he woke up, he saw that he was not in his usual body, but he had just turned into the sea iguana itself, not able to understand what had happened to him. He tried to move his human body, but it was not happening, and instead, the iguana was moving like human. Chen had no way to do anything except just waiting for his body to regain consciousness. As the scene shifts, we see that after a few hours, Chen woke up, and as he started yawning and raised his hand, the sea iguana was doing the same. Chen was shocked that he can control the body of the lizard like he controls his own arm. He thought that maybe this was some kind of cheat skill that he got after getting banged in the head. Chen was happy, realizing that now it was finally time for his hero's journey to begin. But he was not sure about what his small lizard buddy can do, and how Chen can monetize it, because he was in dire need of money. He decided to become a YouTuber at first, showing off how smart his lizard was by actually mind-controlling the creature. But suddenly a thought popped up that maybe he was some kind of a main character who got mysterious powers and can use it for doing good for humanity. All the stories he had read till now, he had only saw that people who get enough power only become villains. And, in comparison to those overpowered abilities, Chen was instead stuck with a little lizard who can do some petty tricks after being mind-controlled. After passing out for a whole day, both the lizard and Chen were getting hungry. But, as usual, our boy is so dumb that he forgot to ask the owner about what he should feed the sea iguana. But Chen just decided to wing it, and thought that maybe since the iguana is a kind of a lizard, the creature should be fine with meat. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen had bought a lot of steak and some vegetables, cutting them all into a finely chopped pieces as he showed his bachelor skills to his new pet, making a delicious-looking cuisine for the creature to eat. After finishing his own food, Chen gave the steak to the lizard, who was glittering its eyes after he saw such a feast. The lizard just started eating like there was no tomorrow. But, as the creature was feeding himself, multiple notifications started popping up in front of Chen all of a sudden, scaring him to death. Our boy turned around in disbelief and read that after eating a lot of meat, the clone of our boy had helped him receive 5 evolution points, and Chen's constitution has increased by 0.5. Chen started swiping around the mysterious notification and came to know that he was a level 0 individual with a constitution of 8.5 and spirit of 12 with a hidden talent of mind control. Chen was shocked to see that he was actually a psychic who can do mind control. His stats included external aura and chi perception, along with skills which were including extremities boxing and stepping cloud jump, along with springing leg. We come to know that the Peck was considered a clone of our boy, and this mysterious lizard can further evolve. Chen was baffled by this immediate information dump, wondering if this was the actual cheat code that he got in his life. Chen looked at his soft fists while remembering a flashback where his dad was teaching him the basics of martial arts, telling him that if he practiced without understanding the foundation, then the root of his abilities will be useless. But as our boy is too small at this time, he was really tired asking his dad for just a break after standing for so long. But his dad was ruthless, telling Chen that it is really cowardly to give up anything halfway. And as Chen did not want to be a coward, he started running 100 miles before falling down onto the ground due to a measly black stone. But the dad was still as ruthless as ever. Looks like our boy is surely having some dad issues. The man told Chen that no one else will be coming to help him when he grows up, so he should learn about this when he still had time. Finally, the day which you all have waited has come, and the dad had given Chen all the savings that he had done, telling him that he needs to take a very long trip because the milk from the nearby store is already finished. The dad wanted Chen to walk the rest of his martial arts journey himself, because buying milk would really take forever. The man told our boy to remember that he cannot neglect practicing martial arts, and when he will be strong enough, he would be able to see the other side of the world with his own eyes. But just then, Chen asked his dad the shocking question which no child should ask a dad when he is going to buy milk: when his dad would return to him. The man was baffled by the question, telling the kid that he will first have to become a grand master in martial arts, and then only he can see his dad. But maybe he would not be in the city anymore by then. And just like that, a decade has passed, and the flashback ends. The scene suddenly shifts from this to something extraordinary. He saw that just after eating this much, the lizard started growing a bit longer and stronger. It was as if some kind of electricity ran through the body of the creature, making him stronger by every passing second. And just then, a notification popped up, and our boy turned immediately towards it. Reading that, the evolution points of the lizard has increased from 5 to 15 just after having a meal. But our boy was feeling kinda different. It was as if a strange energy has emerged inside his body. He immediately turned towards his body mirror and pulled his shirt up, looking at the abs, which were suddenly there out of nowhere. He was really shocked to the core, because people usually get fat when they eat. But the more the lizard was eating, the more powerful our boy was becoming. He realized that the points which were received by the sea iguana were also affecting him, and just then, a devilish idea came into the mind of our boy. Chen thought that maybe after the first evolution of the lizard, Chen can get really strong due to the connection he had with the iguana, and after evolving multiple times, maybe he can grow into the behemoth, which Chen always saw in his dreams. Chen smiled calmly while looking just like Lin, thinking that if he uses the lizard properly, maybe he can actually become a real martial arts grandmaster and then meet his dad, who had been buying milk from a decade. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was now ready to fulfill his plan, going straight to the marketplace to buy a lot of beef and pork, along with some lean meat. Chen decided to buy multiple pounds of meat, and as everything was packed, the vendor wanted to know if Chen would pay cash or card. After finally purchasing all the meat, Chen wondered if this much would actually be enough. Finally, he put everything he had inside his second-hand car and drove it back to his house. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen has returned into his room and started cooking everything up for the lizard to eat, not having even a single bite for himself, because he knew that the more the monster eats, the closer he will be to becoming a martial arts grandmaster. The monster started eating like there was no tomorrow once again, and after having the tasty meal and eating it slowly while savoring the taste it had, the lizard finished everything inside the plate. After looking at his pet, even Chen understood that the lizard liked the beef more than the pork. He also decided to increase his culinary skills, because he knew that the meat could use a bit more cumin, along with some more spices. Finally, after eating like the monster which the lizard was, he got to the only window that the room had and dropped itself onto the floor, deciding to be just a chill guy for the rest of the day. As the scene shifts, we see that, as the lizard was sleeping, Chen was training inside his martial arts room while he glared intently at the punching bag in the center and started punching it like crazy. This room was the only thing which was left by his dad because he practiced martial arts all day. And after training for a few hours, a notification popped up, telling Chen that his extremities boxing experience has increased by 5 points. Chen was happy to see that his constitution has improved a lot after the lizard finished eating, and even his training progress was now faster because of the amount of food time passes, and the scene shifts to 2 days later, where Chen was back inside his martial arts room, training tirelessly, and the punching bag was in tatters just after 2 days. The feeling of getting stronger just by working hard at training was amazing for a boy, as he was looking at constant results. It was time for him to try his new flying uppercut kick, and as soon as the impact was made onto the punching bag, it started flying into another corner of the room, taking its last breath and slamming onto the walls, getting torn from the center. As the system window popped up, we come to know that Chen had 28 constitution points, along with 16 spirit points, and the sea iguana was going to evolve to the next stage just after 5 more points. Chen realized that from a perspective of traditional martial arts right now, he should have reached the peak of the Ming realm. He remembered the flashback of his father, who told him that the realms of martial arts were divided into Ming, Dark, and Transformation, and the peak of the Ming realm makes anyone a top-notch fighter, capable of taking on tens of opponents alone. The Dark realm, on the other hand, makes the individual a first-rate expert, able to fight 100 people at once, and these people are usually hidden by their legendary families. Finally, the Transformation realm allows the human to take on 1,000 others, and they are actually the Grand Masters, who are recorded in history and were rare in modern times. The Transformation realm represented an unbreakable body, which was only described in ancient texts, and the dad was not a bad man, as he also reached the Dark realm briefly. But it was not easy for him to maintain the position, and he dropped back onto the Ming realm. The small Chen was really getting excited by the amazing endeavors of his dad, and asked him if he was someone from one of those legendary families. But the dad just smiled, telling Chen that he is an individual from Luotuan. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was back into his one-room apartment, looking at his sofa, which was fully covered by the sea iguana, who was now just as tall as an average human. But instead of getting worried, Chen was happy, realizing that after just one more meal, the iguana, along with himself, would be ready to evolve. He hoped that it would not be just a gimmick and would really have a significant jump in energy. Chen sat down and gave the food to the monster to eat it piece by piece. The evolution points finally reached 200, and the man was almost ready to evolve. He was so excited that he can't wait to see about how the lizard was changing as the clone sea iguana had finally met the evolution requirements. The evolution was finally starting to begin, but completely opposite to what Chen had thought. The lizard's hand started feeling a surge of electricity, Chen's left hand was in a lot of pain and agony. Both of them slammed into the ground, not able to bear the pain which they were having. But the lizard started growing multiple horns onto the back of its neck. It was just looking like a dragon who was still not able to fly. But this showed how powerful the lizard has become. Finally, after the evolution was somewhat complete, the lizard had to release all the energy which was stored inside of him. And as he did so, each and everything inside the room started breaking due to the heavy impact. After the pain subsided, Chen slammed onto the ground while not able to comprehend about why he was in such a pain, because he never thought that evolution would really hurt this much. As Chen woke up from his almost unconscious state, he saw that the iguana had become a lot stronger. Chen smiled, wondering about how strong the creature actually is, and he started using his mind control technique, slamming the punching bag that was already broken and breaking it into more halves. Chen was satisfied by the extraordinary power which was possessed by the evolved pet, and due to it, Chen had also evolved, and his constitution points were increased greatly from 28 to 56, along with spirit which was increased from 16 to 18. Even he did not believe that after evolution of the clone, the main body's physique and attributes would directly double. The external aura and chi perception were still not strong enough for Chen to know if it was really having some kind of effect, but he knew that every time the clone would evolve, his constitution would actually double. But the power was so low that completely stating it as a fact was not really possible. But Chen knew that if this theory was true, then he would be becoming a terrifying monster along with his pet, who would be able to dominate anyone he chooses to. After he stood up completely, Chen started exerting external energy which was visible to us through some kind of crimson aura, and judging by the traditional martial arts standards, Chen had just now reached the Dark Realm, officially becoming a martial arts expert just after a week of acquiring the pet. And now, even after training for a whole day, he just gained 100 skill experience points. He knew that even more than physical training, he would have to train the sea iguana to see significant changes. As he turned towards the monster, he saw a shocking thing, that whenever the body of Chen exerted external energy, even the lizard can do so by its own will. The surprises were still not over, but Chen was interrupted when he heard loud banging noises from the door of his room. It was the bodybuilder neighbor from the next room, who was slamming onto the door like crazy. He thought that Chen would be someone that he would easily dominate. But as soon as our boy opened the door and asked the man about what his problem was, the big guy was really scared by actually sensing the external energy of Chen, not able to understand about what was happening to our boy. Chen was actually sending off the external aura, which was able to crush the big guy in just a matter of seconds, and the dominance which the man thought that he would create was completely flipped. The bulky man immediately changed the topic, asking Chen if there was some kind of a renovation which was going on. Hearing that, our boy calmed down, apologizing to the big guy, telling him that he had just been training and without even realizing that things had become actually loud. Hearing the word training, the big guy wondered about the kind of training which felt like an earthquake from the other rooms. But as he had a sneak peek inside Chen's room, he saw that everything that should be properly organized was completely scattered. Not able to believe about what kind of monster Chen was, the big guy decided to get away from him as soon as he can. The guy just told Chen to change his training methods a bit so that things can become a bit quieter. Even our boy was not a bully, apologizing to the man for all the ruckus that he made, promising him to adjust his training methods. But as soon as the man got away from the corridors, the lizard, or should I say, the monster, got out from the room, smiling along with our boy Chen, who knew that the things are going to be even louder than they were ever before. As soon as Chen closed the door, he saw the actual intensity of destruction, which was caused by both him and his pet. He realized that the sea iguana clone was now too large to keep inside the house, and it is about time for the creature to go to the sea so that it can train properly. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen has used his second-hand car with a Bulbasaur plushie on the dashboard to transport the sea iguana near the sea. And as both Chen and the creature got down from the car, Chen started using his mind control ability to control the creature as it was going inside the seawater and took a dive. Finally, Chen activated his energy sense and started sensing multiple creatures within the radius of 10 meters around the lizard, because this was the current limit of his abilities. As the iguana was searching everywhere near the sea for his prey, Chen spotted from his vision that there was a fish which was swimming and had 5 eyes. He decided to make it the first prey, and the iguana immediately started swimming towards the fish with insane speeds. Even the fish was shocked, suddenly seeing the doom which was coming towards him, and somehow the creature was able to dodge the relentless attack of the iguana. But the creature was not ready to leave his prey alone, and immediately opened its mouth, gnawing the neck of the fish in an instant, and digesting the creature slowly but wholly. After the eating and the digestion was finished, Chen got a notification that after eating the mutated fish, the sea iguana has gained 10 evolution points, and even Chen has received +1 physique point after all this work. Chen noticed that after evolving, eating all the beef and pork only provided them 1 evolution point per meal, but as soon as the iguana ate the mutated fish, he actually got 10 points, which was a pretty good number. Chen realized that with these kinds of mutated creatures appearing inside the ocean, he would actually be able to evolve the iguana to the next stage really soon. And after the recent news which was coming all over in the world, Chen was sure that the world was not as peaceful as it was before. As the scene shifts, we see that the iguana was continuously hunting multiple mutated fishes, and the massacre done by the creature was clearly evident in the water as the bones of multiple fishes were swimming inside the ocean. But suddenly, a reminder notification popped up, telling Chen that as his clone has already reached the daily cap of 100 evolution points, it cannot gain more points for today. As Chen knew that there was no point in hunting fishes anymore, he started exploring the colorful and vibrant ocean, telling us the contrast that to humans, the ocean at night is cold and pitch black, but through the sea creature eyes, the underwater world was indeed colorful, vibrant, and dangerous. As an amphibian, Chen knew that the iguana can stay underwater for a long time. But still, it does not have any gills, so he is required to take a breath now and then so that he can properly breathe, and for that, he needs to surface above the ocean. As Chen and the iguana was exploring the sea, they saw a large cave-like structure, which was near a cliff. Chen decided to have a look at it and surfaced inside an underwater rock cave, which was full of air. Chen smiled as he saw a spot which was filled with oxygen and had no water. As this spot was free from any other creatures, Chen decided to let the sea iguana clone rest and breathe for a while. Meanwhile, Chen undid his mind control and decided to head back to his home too, because even he was tired. Chen got inside the car and started driving back to his house. Along the way, he came to a desolated place where a minivan was parked, and the house was fully covered all over with wood. Chen was looking at the suspicious place. As he heard some rattling noise, not able to believe that someone was actually living at that desolate house. But Chen actually listened with some more focus. He heard a feminine voice, which was crying out for help. Our boy immediately stopped the car while thinking that he should act at the right time, or maybe some dangerous people will come out and harm him. The scene shifts to inside the house where 2 goons were looking at Chen's car. One of them wanted to know if the car had already left, and even Chen started the car and started driving, which removed the suspicions from the mind of the goons. We see that it was a gang of 3 people who abducted a lady, and one of them was trying to keep her quiet. The bald man immediately threw a kick at his subordinate, not able to understand about how he was so careless that he did not even notice that the cloth which was binding the mouth of the lady fell out of her mouth. The subordinate immediately started making excuses, telling his boss that it was so dark inside the house that he was not able to see what the lady was doing. The baldy immediately turned towards the lady, telling her that she should shut up and behave, or else the boss, along with his subordinates, will not actually hesitate to have some fun with her tonight, which would actually be no less than a torture for the lady. But we see that Chan has parked the car a little farther from the house and decided to walk towards it instead while activating his energy sense. It was as if multiple radio wave frequencies touched the house, and Chen noticed that there was a group of 3 people who were having a lady as a hostage. Chen noticed everyone from his senses. The baldy and his subordinate were busy drinking while the abducted lady was unconscious, and another man was guarding her. Chen was not able to understand if this was a case of kidnapping or human trafficking, but he was sure that the 3 men were dangerous because 2 of them were having lethal knives. Chen finally decided to deal with all the 3 of them in an instant because it would have the maximum shock value and it would really avoid endangering the hostage due to the instantaneousness. Chen got ready with a lethal stance and immediately kicked the door open in an instant. All 3 goons were not able to understand what was happening. All of a sudden, but they instinctively grabbed their knives and got ready for the imminent danger. But Chen was as fast as flash, kicking away the subordinate and shocking the baldy to the core. The hairless brat immediately got behind our boy, jumping and ready to attack him. But Chen immediately torched the man with the power of martial arts and threw a great punch onto his head. The man flew several meters away but was somehow caught with another subordinate of his. The man told the boss to take a breather while he takes care of the intruder. We come to know that this man was actually named Ning, who was an expert in Wong Fist. He took his fighting stance while asking Chen about what type of martial artist he was. Chen also introduced himself as a Luo Tuan 8 extremities boxer, and the fight between both the martial artists began. Ning immediately used his first attack, named Tao Lo fist onto our boy, but Chen swiftly deflected this fist from one of his hands while turning around and bending the hands of the Wang Fist master in defense. Ning also used one of his kicks, while giving a left uppercut straight onto the face of Chen, which made him lose balance and get slammed onto the floor. Chen realized that Ning was actually a martial arts expert who was able to fight hand-to-hand with someone as dangerous as Chen himself. But our boy was not ready to give up and admit defeat just yet, immediately standing up and shocking Ning while using his extremities. Boxing's most lethal technique, the Iron Mountain Slam. Ning felt a numbing thrust onto his chest and flew several meters away due to the impact. But as the dust and the debris got cleared, we see that Ning was actually smiling even when he was in pain. Because for him, this was getting interesting. After coming down the mountain, he never expected that he would meet a real disciple of the 8 extremities boxing, and the Iron Mountain Slam was the ultimate move of this technique and has a really dangerous reputation. But instead of getting impressed, Chen told the man that it was really a shame. Not able to understand about what Chen actually wanted to say, Ning asked him to explain. Hearing that, our boy started moving towards Ning, while telling him that he did not expect to see a thug who was really decent with the Wong Fist technique. It was really a shameful thing for the disciple of the Wong Fist technique to go through such a crooked path. Ning smiled at this insult, telling Chen that he was just a student of the university who still does not know about how the world actually works. And this was not the fault of Chen himself, because Ning also understood the harsh reality of the world after he actually left the mountain. According to Ning, if someone wanted to get ahead of others, they will have to do whatever it takes. The man was almost insane as he got a jump onto our boy. Ning was ready to damage both the eyes of our boy, which would make him completely blind. But Chen was as fast as anyone can be, kicking away Ning before he can reach the eye. The man was slammed down onto the ground, rolling over multiple times before stopping. Chen realized that the battle between two martial artists was actually dangerous, and even the strength that he felt from Ning was way more intense and dangerous than dozens of strong muscle men. But Chen was still not able to properly control his strength, and it was actually really bad for the goons, because now there was no way that they would be able to defeat our boy, because he was not practicing any moderation. Even Chen knew that he will have to practice mastering control over his strength somehow, but that is the work for another day. As he turned around, he saw that the lady who was kidnapped was trying to scream. Even when she was bounded, Chen immediately snapped all the ropes which were trying to tie the lady down, and she immediately hugged our boy, as she was actually really scared. Our boy started consoling the lady, telling her that it was actually all right now, but the lady kept on thanking Chen for saving her life. Chen smiled while giving her his phone, telling her to wipe her tears and call the police after he leaves. But he still wanted the lady to tell the policeman that she did not have a good look at Chen, because if the department investigates, Chen would actually be in a bigger problem. The lady also understood why Chen was doing so and promised our boy that she will not tell anyone about who saved her. Just 10 minutes later, the whole police van parked their car near the desolate house and caught all the goons along with the lady. But even the policemen were shocked that all the goons were already unconscious due to the fighting they did. As the scene shifts, we come to the station where we meet a lady officer named Guan, who was from the security agency police. She was inside the office of the deputy chief to give the information which was asked by him. She started reporting that the detectives were able to see clear footprints on the broken door of the desolate house. Based on the depth and the way that the door axle broke off, they were sure that someone kicked the door open from the front, and the door flew about 3 meters away. The force which was used to open the door was at least 1,000 kilograms. As per the situation of the kidnappers, 2 of them died due to the injuries they had, and 1 of them has entered a vegetative state after suffering a major concussion. According to the abducted lady, who was named Lin, the person who saved her was wearing a mask at night, and she could not tell what they looked like. Meanwhile, we see that the deputy chief was looking at all the reports, not able to believe at the strength by which the door was opened, because even the most force the king of boxing was able to exert was 800 kilograms, and that was with the help of a machine. In real life, the man was not able to believe that someone, according to her, even when the guy's strength was so inhuman, even stranger things have been happening inside the city lately. But before the lady could continue, multiple thunderbolts started crashing in the sky, and both the deputy chief and the officer saw that a really huge storm was coming in the city. Meanwhile, the scene shifts, and we see that Chen was near the sea once again, as he was waiting for the iguana to come out. But he saw that a few strangers came out of a boat near the sea. Man told the boss that it took them so long to dig up a sunken ship, and they have only made a little more than 2 million. But the boss has already spent more than 1 million into just fun and ladies. The boss started speaking and told both his subordinates that they were actually really short-sighted, because the money was invested on an actual big-shot woman who would be able to multiply their money in a really short amount of time. The boss wanted to know from the young man if he had finished the business with the company, and he started informing that he had already arranged a shipping company and had rented a high-end office building for the office premises, which was according to the request of the boss. Also, he had hired a headhunting company to find them the prettiest girls for being their secretaries and the front desk managers. The man was sure that their boss would not be disappointed at the work that they did. Finally, the boss revealed that he had the underwater breathing ability, which he had awakened recently, and had come up with a plan that they would find multiple sunken ships in the sea, which are destroyed due to the monsters. Some of them contained a large amount of goods and treasury, which is lost inside the seawater, and no one dares to go inside the sea without an ability. The man was sure that he can get all the treasures which is left unnoticed with his new ability, and then the group will have as much money as they ever wanted. The old boss had a devilish smirk on his face while he told his subordinates to follow him closely so that they will also be able to enjoy the money which is going to come to them. But suddenly, their sweet talk was interrupted as something of a light yellow color dashed into the bushes just behind the group. And the boss immediately turned around, wanting to know about what was making such a rattling noise inside the bushes. We see that it was none other than Chen, who came out from the bushes behind the old man's gang, telling them that among all the bad people, the boss with the diving ability was a special one. But the man thought that Chen was insulting him, getting ready to attack him with a knife, telling him that he will not live long to see another day. But whatever the boss said was actually true for him, because Chen was ready with a ferocious upper kick, and as soon as the man jumped at him, the boy kicked him with all his might, not restraining his power at all. The old man started bouncing like a football, and our boy kept on kicking him near the tree so that he can bounce back. After multiple sessions of doing this, the man finally slammed onto the ground, not able to get up. Meanwhile, his lackeys were not able to believe that even after awakening and getting a lot stronger than an average human, he was getting beaten like a football by our boy. Both of them started running, but it was not their day. As Chen immediately caught them with his mind control powers, he ordered all three of the goons to look at him so that Chen can actually increase his influence over their minds. He decided to test his mind control power out and asked the boss his name. We come to know that this old man was named Zhang, who owned a ship and did illegal business for a living in the shell of a shipping company. It was a month ago that he got the superpower to breathe underwater, which helped him in raiding the sunken ships in the depths and exchange any treasure that he finds for money to the rich people. Chen smiled as the boss was looking just like a machine, agreeing to any command that our boy was giving. He realized that mind control was also very effective on other people, as the boss was basically a puppet under his control. After he got all the information he wanted, Chen canceled the mind control. But to everyone's surprise, the boss was actually referring to Chen as his boss, asking him about what happened to his hand. Knowing that this was a great opportunity, Chen lied to the old man, telling him that he broke the arm himself accidentally. Now, our boy had a really devilish laugh on his face, because he knew that his mind control can have adverse effects on others' mind, and he can still manipulate them even after canceling the actual mind control technique. Chen told the old man to rest a bit on the boat, and told him that he will be there after just waking the two lackeys up. Chen got towards the two lackeys, while thinking that to raise his lizard, he will need a huge amount of food. And as Zhang was having a ship and often works with rich people, our boy decided to use the old man to get money through his company and raise his lizard. He was able to dominate a group with the effect of his mind control technique, and he realized that there was some kind of resistance when he tried to control other people with superpowers, but with the two lackeys who were as simple-minded as a literal monkey, there is no problem in controlling them, and he can do so without much effort. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was brought to the ship of Zhang, and all his subordinates asked Zhang about who the stranger is. The old man replied that Chen was even his boss, so they should all be respectful to him. Our boy had actually become the big boss of the company of the old man. The man wanted his subordinate to prepare the contract for transferring the assets of the company to Chen, because this ship was going to be his now after getting the actual agreement. He told the four-eyed subordinate to wait for him in the office tomorrow, and he ordered Jane to follow him to the hospital because he was seriously injured. The scene shifts to the next day after everything, and we see that the sea iguana was actually enjoying his new life, hunting and eating all he wanted, because the sea was the heaven of limitless food. And on the other hand, we see that Chen was actually practicing with his new punching bag, gaining multiple evolution points and constitution points in the gym, because he knew that he cannot rely on his iguana clone to increase his power alone. And the fighting experience, which he required in real life, would come only when he trains more. He knew that after 2 battles, he was feeling more control over his overwhelming strength. But it was still not enough. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back in the mountain cave, where all the energy which was digested by the iguana was transferred to our boy, also making him stronger than ever. It was the next day, and Chen was standing in front of his new office because the transfer process was done in less than 12 hours. Our boy smiled while looking at the bodyguards that he has now, while thinking that, even without going outside for a day, he was able to get more than 90 evolution points, and the iguana was also grown by 20 centimeters. He decided that tomorrow he should make the lizard journey deep inside the sea, because he realized one thing from the previous encounter, that he was not the only person with superpowers in the world, and he had to become stronger, especially now, that there are unknown creatures in the depth of the oceans who can be a threat to humanity in no time. Meanwhile, the 4-eyed punk and the muscle men were shocked to see that the ocean was having much less fish, and they were practically capturing nothing. One of the subordinates told him that maybe there is a school of big fish down in the oceans, like sharks who are moving in a group, and they were killing all the smaller fish that the ship was trying to capture. But we all know that rather than sharks, it was actually the sea iguana who was continuously making even the killer sharks his prey, while thinking that white shark meat was actually so tender. Finally, it was time for the iguana to evolve, and the system wanted to know from Chen if he would do it right now. As soon as our boy confirmed the process, the iguana's body was starting to hurt once again, and at the same time, inside the gym, we see that Chen slammed down onto the ground, not able to bear with the intense pain, which always happens at the time of evolution. But just after the pain subsided, he was happy to see that now his constitution points were 130 and spirit was 38. And after the 2 times of evolution, the iguana would need 5,000 points to level up once again. Finally, the sea clone was now having a description, which told our boy that the creature was of scale, armored, spiny lizard, who was a newborn ferocious beast, and it was trying to evolve into a ferocious beast lord after devolving everything which comes in his way. Even when this thing was dangerous, Chen decided to keep it aside and was happy that he had made a breakthrough, because his constitution was 13 times that of a normal person, and he had reached a level equivalent to great success in the dark realm in ancient martial arts. But he was a bit shocked, because whatever he thought during the first evolution was not true, and the points did not double after the second time. But suddenly, Chen noticed that the clone was now having water affinity. For testing this new ability out, Chen immediately connected with the iguana through his mind control skills, realizing that the creature has become much larger, and the bone density was a few times more than before. Its weight that has reached 4 or 5 tons. But the difference is not only physical, and Chen noticed that the power of the iguana has doubled, and its claws were actually equal to steel, which are way more explosive than before. The creature can now swim for up to 27 kilometers per hour, and that was even faster than a large ship, which was traveling with a lot of goods. Finally, due to the water affinity, the iguana was making so much less noise and also feels less resistance while swimming. As the scene shifts, we come back to the office where Chen called out to the lackeys, asking them if some rich guy was asking for their treasures lately. When he heard the man who answered his negative tone, he switched the topic, asking him about how the research about the sunken ships was going. The man on the other side of the phone told Chen that they have found a few locations with sunken ships. But without Boss Zhang, who can breathe in the water, they were not going to explore any further. But Chen immediately told them to not worry at all, because he had other things which he planned. He had a look at the world map and realized that the shallow water area of the routes which are used by Country Z and Country H have been mostly explored, and there was no treasure left there. But there was still a lot of priceless ships in the deep sea area where the sea iguana can actually explore the scene. As the scene shifts, we come to the southeast area of the sea, 25 kilometers offshore, where Chen was controlling the iguana clone, realizing that now the creature can breathe deep in water after the recent evolution, and even his perception has gone up to the level where he can feel the area in the radius of 25 kilometers around them. As the iguana started searching for the sunken ship, Chen thought that the point of having a lot of money was actually to enjoy a bit of the life and work to double that money. Finally, he canceled the mind control and looked at his smartphone, knowing that it was almost 11 o'clock. He decided to have some food for himself too, and this time, he had the money to actually spend it on something good. But as the scene shifts, we see a lady in tight gym clothing who was almost drunk and was sleeping near a dummy bottle in the pedestrian street of the city. We see that Chen was also at the pedestrian street because he wanted to try out expensive food from their restaurants. He really entered a nice restaurant, but just a one meal over there cost 3,000. Even when his savings were only 20,000 at the time, he knew that he's going to take over the old man's company soon. So at least he should get a taste of what it feels like to be rich. But after enjoying all the food, as Chen was returning back to his place, he saw some males who were trying to have something dirty with the lady who we saw at the footpath near the pole. Chen did not even think for a second, calling out to the men who were trying to do the wrong things. He was smiling while thinking that with his growing strength, his passion for martial arts was also awakening, and he was suddenly becoming an even more compassionate person. As long as there was no real danger with normal goons, he did not mind stepping in and help other people. Meanwhile, the thugs turned around, and Chen saw that one of them had a sharp knife in his hand. They were thinking that Chen was some kind of pushover, telling him to get lost so that they can pretend that he did not see them. But the completely opposite thing happened as Chen released his indomitable aura of crimson red. The people were shocked to see such a power emerging from just a teenage boy. It was as if the goons had been stared down by a ferocious beast. After sensing this indomitable aura, the thugs decided to run away, because they were not going to be trashed by someone this powerful. But just then, the drunk lady started laughing at them, telling them that they are not real men because they are scared when it comes to fight. Even Chen thought that the woman was actually crazy, taunting goons like that, not caring about her safety. Even the goons understood that this was a kind of woman that they did not get to see every day, and they were not able to let the female think that they were weak. And both of them were so dumb that even after the indomitable aura, they thought that there was no reason to be afraid of our boy, because he was just a guy, and they were too. Even the other one decided to get to our boy and have a jump on him, because they thought that they can take him down. Chen was already prepared with his extremities fighting stance, controlling his aura, this time to not overdo it with the strength. But just when he used his single kick, the men were flying several meters away from the ground, even when Chen only used 10% of his strength. It was so lethal that if it was at 100%, the kick would have crumbled their bones and have turned them into squishy mush in an instant. But Chen realized that he should let the goons go for this time, because they are not doing something bad enough to deserve a death sentence. The men immediately grabbed one another and started running away because they have saw a literal demon in men's clothing who had come out straight from hell. But Chen was suddenly focusing his attention to the girl who was smiling and laughing like crazy, complimenting our boy for being so strong. Our boy was not able to understand if the lady was actually this goofy, or if she was actually made to drink so much that she lost consciousness. Chen immediately blocked the girl away while she was pushing her 2 important melons onto our boy's hand. He called the police and told them that there was a woman who seemed drugged outside the bar, and she was also looking a bit compromised. But the lady was not able to understand about why Chen was calling the police instead of trying to have his way with the girl and take her home. But this was not the intention of our Sigma character. A few minutes later, the police arrived, and the lady was a bit angry on our boy telling him that he was no fun. Meanwhile, Chen did not care about what the lady was thinking, telling the police that he was the one who called them at the first place. He told the police that he came out for a midnight snack and saw the lady who was unconscious after being drunk from the bar. Finally, after everything was finished, Chen wanted to just go home and control the giant lizard to look for the sunken ship and get rich. As the scene shifts, we see that it was Chen inside the body of the giant lizard and got to the location where the four-eyed brat told him that there was a sunken ship. The creature was using this perception technique and was able to sense up to 20 meters in the radius, but he knew that he will need to keep improving it so that he can use his pet even more efficiently. Finally, it was time for him to scavenge the sunken ship, and the iguana started dashing swiftly into the water. After searching for a while, the iguana slammed a rusted door open, and it was a jackpot for our boy because he found literal solid gold bars inside the treasure ship. We see that outside the ocean, the large ship of Boss Zhang was already parked. Ready for the next orders of our boy, Chen told the subordinate to drop a crate after steering the ship 3 kilometers to the east. The subordinates were only agreeing to do whatever Chen said without asking much questions. But the brat was still curious, wanting to know if someone else's in Chen's team was having the ability to breathe underwater. But the driver of the ship immediately shut him up, telling him to not pry into the big boss's secret. After the crate was dropped, Chen ordered the sea iguana to drop all the solid gold that he had found onto the crate, and the other people to start recovering the box at the surface. But just after the iguana was going away from the ship, he saw a dense piece of metal, and even after scratching it multiple times, he was not able to break it. Chen thought that the pet's claws can easily pierce through regular metals, but this one was special as the iguana was not able to break it even after trying so many times. This piece of the special metal was so valuable that the iguana immediately grabbed it for his master to take it back and give it to Chen. But suddenly, as he turned around, he was ambushed by a giant white sashimi fish, who was also mutated. Chen felt a bit of a scratch near his stomach and realized that the sea iguana was caught. Our boy was literally angry at the fish for trying to ambush him. He knew that even when the fish was actually longer and had larger teeth. But when it comes to strength, offense, and defense, the fish was no match for the clone of the iguana. After just a few bites, the creature digested the sashimi as a whole, throwing away all the bones which were not at all tasty. But the pet was satisfied because he tasted something new after a long time. The scene shifts to a few hours later, where we see that Chen was near the seawater. As he was testing out the different sediment rocks, which have been eroded by the seawater for years, making them incredibly hard. As Chen cannot train inside his house, he knew that the next best frame was the deserted beach at night, which was the perfect spot to test his actual strength without holding back. He started practicing by punching the sediment rocks, while thinking that even when the force of the impact was working both ways. It was not affecting Chen because his bone density was nearly 20 times of that of an average human. Plus, he was also having his indomitable aura, which was working as an external shield, absorbing most of the impact. So his hand was feeling only a bit sore, and that slight soreness was instantly over duty. The body's rapid recovery ability, which Chen got after leveling up so many times. After many evolutions, the physique of our boy has surpassed 200 points, and even when he did not actually test it with a machine. But he knew that his punches should weigh at least 3, because the punching bag at his home was not durable enough to handle 3,000 pounds. And he cannot train at some kind of path either, because with modern technology, if someone was daring enough to record our boy and upload it online, it would become a huge problem for him. If people actually found out that Chen was extraordinary, it would only bring him a lot of trouble. And due to it, only the empty beach can help him train freely. After punching all the sediment rocks in the vicinity, Chen was actually feeling great after a really intense workout. But even after just resting for 1 minute, Chen's insane recovery ability healed all the scrapes in his hands. Meanwhile, Chen noticed that the sea iguana came back to surface on the ground, and it also got the strange mineral which it found inside the sea. Chen noticed from his own eyes that the irregular black ore was shining with a metallic luster. But it was not particularly special at the first glance, but even such a small rock was actually weighing more than 200 pounds. It was actually some kind of metal which was heavy and extremely tough. It has so much strength that even the lizard's claws were struggling to scratch it. Chen realized that this material would be perfect for crafting a new weapon. But with his current martial arts skill, making a suitable weapon with his own hands would actually be difficult. And for now, Chen decided to keep the black ore with him while focusing on dealing with the gold bars that he got instead. Chen drove at the dock where the ship was parked and asked the lackey about where it all was. The subordinate told him that it was all into the ship and all the treasure had been properly cleaned up. We come to the captain's cabin, where the secretary of a boy wanted to know from him about how much money the gold was worth, because he had never seen so many gold bars in his life. Chen started inspecting all the gold, telling the secretary that, as the gold bars did not have any markings, it must mean that they have been privately minted, and Chen cannot sell them as antiques. But still, it would be a very good business opportunity, just because what they found was gold. The scene shifts to the bustling downtown of the city, where Chen entered into a gold shop, and the receptionist welcomed him without any delay. Chen was calm while he carried a bag full of gold inside the shop, asking the lady if they brought gold in this shop. The lady thought that maybe Chen was trying to sell some rings or necklaces, but our boy smiled while grabbing the bag in front of him and opening it up, showing the large amount of gold in kilos which he brought. Even the receptionist was shocked by looking at the amount of gold which was brought by our boy, offering him to come upstairs because she will have to let the manager deal with this offer. After a while, the manager of the shop was called, and he asked our boy his name and about how much gold he was selling. Chen introduced himself and showed the manager the bag full of gold which he wanted to sell, and the manager was happy, telling Chen that he will have to first let his team check the quality, and then they should talk about the deal that the shop can give him, as the gold experts started analyzing the gold from top to bottom. The manager informed Chen that his gold bars are weighing a total of 11.25 kilograms. But since they are not very pure and are privately minted, the shop offered 400 yuan per gram for all that gold. Even when the manager asked Chen if this amount was fair, we come to know that as our boy was not an Asian, he did not bargain at all and refused to get a way better price. He closed the deal with the amount he was getting on one condition, that he is going to need the money instantly transferred into his account. Finally, Chen was now a rich man, with his account having 4.5 million in an instant. He was happy while he was driving his car, thinking that people of his age are still hustling through their college life. But our boy has got the opportunity to make millions from just one adventure. And it was such an overwhelming feeling that it felt so surreal. Finally, Chen decided that he should get a new car, as the second-hand car was now ages old and was having such a low chassis, which was making an irritating sound whenever there are some kind of a bumpy or coastal roads. The next stop for our boy was the luxury auto showroom, where Chen was looking at a nice big car, which can help him teleport himself along with a large amount of gold or any treasure that he got from the sunken ships. But as soon as Chen and his secretary entered into the shop, our boy listened to the receptionist welcoming another couple. We come to know that it was none other than the ex of our boy, who had been leeching on him when he did not have any money. And back then, our boy was so mad in love that he tried winning her over again and again. And like the gold digger that the girlfriend was, she chased after wealth and status, living it up with rich boys and leaving Chen alone when it was hard time for him. And even now, the lady was as arrogant as she can be, flexing his new boyfriend in front of his ex. She told the man that Chen was the guy who was a complete loser and always chased her even when she denied. She started taunting our boy, telling him that he was just a broke college kid who was doing window shopping inside a luxury car showroom. After hearing all this for his master, the secretary was so angry that he cannot maintain his composure, asking the lady about who she was calling all broke. But Chen was as calm as he can be, knowing the true nature of the gold digger lady, telling the secretary that he should not mind them. But the lady was not going to stop, telling Chen that all she was saying was the truth, and he was just a broke college student, and this is not a place that he can afford, so he should get out without wasting the time of her or her new boyfriend. She immediately called out to the man, telling him that they should not waste time and go to have a look at the cars. The lady was as shameless as any gold digger can really get, demanding a highly luxurious car from his new boyfriend. Even when the man smiled and told the lady that he would check the car out, he never would have thought that money that he used for impressing this woman would be misused this badly. He knew that he gets only tens of thousands a month from his parents for spending, but even he cannot actually buy a luxury car, even if he wanted to do it on easy installments. Meanwhile, Chen was just doing his own work, telling the receptionist about the car he wanted, and the lady started showing him multiple models with a high chassis, and that can carry stuff easily. Even Chen was happy by looking at one of the model, thinking that it should actually meet all their needs. Finally, our boy decided to buy the white car, which was really looking good, and the receptionist told our boy that the car cost 2.3 million yuan. But as money was not the problem for our boy right now, he decided to buy it in one go and not opt for any installment, paying the whole amount by his black card, in full. The receptionist was happy, knowing that she did not have to do much to convince the customer to buy the car at the selected price. But as the gold digger GF had nothing to do, she was actually getting shocked from head to toe, not able to believe that Chen can actually pay this amount of money to someone by his own bank. But suddenly, the man behind the lady started smirking, telling her that maybe Chen was just pretending, because there was no way that he can have 2.38 million is his account right now. Maybe the man should know that he is not the only person with money in this whole world, and multiple people exist who can buy the brat as a whole if they wanted to. But this, my friends, is what we call arrogance. Anyways, the lady also got delusional, thinking that whatever his new BF was saying was actually right. Because back then, when the lady was with our boy, he was not able to even afford proper food and was spending his life on instant noodles for weeks just to give her some crazy gifts. The man approached Chen while smiling devilishly, telling him that a broke student should not pretend to buy a luxury car, because it would be embarrassing for Chen if his card gets declined due to insufficient money. But only the secretary of our boy was enough to deal with this arrogant brat, challenging him that if Chen can afford this car, then he should call Chen his dad right in the showroom in front of everyone. The boy was still on cloud 9 of superiority complex, telling the secretary that if Chen would not be able to buy the car, then he will have to call the man his dad. Even when it sounds childish, the lady was enjoying everything. But suddenly, the switch of the lady and the boy flipped as the receptionist bought the keys for the car, along with the black card possessed by our boy, announcing in front of everyone that Chen has got the 2.38 million yuan car in one go. Chen calmly thanks the receptionist and started going inside the new car that he brought. While the all-high and mighty prince was now dropped onto the ground, his false pride shattered like low-quality glass, as he was not able to believe that Chen actually bought a car of 2.38 million by his own money. Just like any other gold digger, the lady flipped her switch all of a sudden, thinking that maybe she was fine with Chen instead of the pseudo-rich brat. The secretary immediately grabbed the collar of the man, asking him to call Chen his dad. But our boy immediately called him out, telling him to not waste any of his precious time on people who show off like this. But the secretary was not ready to give up, telling both the lady and the man that he was spared just because their boss was too kind. And if it was just the secretary, then the word would have actually been said before anyone would have got anywhere. But deep inside, even the boy knew that all his show buzz was now over, because the man he was dealing with was not an ordinary one. But the surprises were still not over, as the girl immediately threw away the man and started running at the car, shamelessly, while telling Chen to just forgive her and let her be his woman. Everyone witnessed this shameless act of the lady, and even the showroom workers were a bit shocked by this behavior, knowing that even when the lady had someone with immense potential inside, she thought that she actually found a rich guy and left him. One of the female subordinates told the worker that this is the eminent nature of greedy people, and they regret only after losing something important to them due to their greed. As the scene shifts, our boy goes to the Cloud's Edge restaurant, which was the top spot for fine dining and services. A group of attendants warmly welcomed our boy and bowed their heads in front of him. A lady came to the seat of our boy, asking him about what he would like to order. Chen started looking at the menu and was intrigued by a 6,000 yuan Boston lobster and 8,000 yuan king crab. He finally ordered those two and started eating, while we see that a lot of ladies gathered around Chen, feeding him with their own soft and delicate hands. Chen was enjoying this new rich treatment. Even when it was pricey, it was completely worth it. After cooking so many meals for the iguana, Chen was finally getting time to enjoy the life of luxury for himself. But suddenly, notifications popped up in the phone of our boy, and as he looked at the notifications, he realized that he was still in the university, and he would still have to attend all the classes after the start of college. Finally, our boy decided to earn more money fast, to help his little lizard break through the shadow realm. And then, he would become so rich and powerful that he would not need to worry about these small things. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was controlling the iguana from far away, while he realized that the swordfish, who was the fastest swimmer among fish, reaching speeds up to 60 miles per hour, that was equivalent to 90 kilometers per hour. But right now, the creature was even faster than the swordfish. He was swimming swiftly inside the sea while devouring multiple sailfish, which are truly delicious to him. Once the iguana was full, it was time for Chen to resume treasure hunting. As the power has greatly increased after using all his senses, the iguana can roughly detect things dozens of kilometers away. But even after scanning that far, he had not still found any kind of shipwrecks, and a few days have gone by without much results. Chen was a bit worried, knowing that the world was starting to change in strange ways. He wondered if there are any secret organizations which consisted of supernatural, ran by the government. But in any case, Chen knew that as he had these overpowered abilities, he needs to be even more cautious about what he does if he wanted to stay hidden. As the scene shifts to the next day, we come to the high-end office building of the shell company, where Chen had never even visited before. But the office was situated in the busiest area of the city, and Zhang really went all out to make the company look good. The company was named the Tin Land Marine Industries, and the receptionist was welcoming the boss along with his secretary of the boat. The secretary told the lady to call everyone to boss's office so that they can have a brief meeting and introduce themselves. The man told Chen that this was their company and introduced Chen to all the ladies who were present there. It was as if all the females were mesmerized by the aura which was released by our boy, not able to believe that even when Chen was so young, he can be so handsome and rich. We meet the receptionist of the office, along with the female secretary who would take care of Chen's needs inside the office, anytime, anywhere. She brought a cup of hot coffee and introduced herself, while Chen told her to leave the coffee on the table, as he was reading the reports about the company, realizing that even when it was just a shell company, it's surprisingly well-equipped, and it was costing more than hundreds of thousands of money to maintain the company every month. He realized that he needed to find more shipwrecked treasures so that he can maintain the company even further. Finally, Chen told the man to end the introductory meeting and have everyone get back to work, while he ordered the man to head back to the ship and keep an eye on things from now on. The man agreed to whatever his master said, but Chen was knowing it well enough that the mind control effect was stable, but not foolproof. Chen needed to make sure that the secretary and the other people who are influenced by his mind control did not interact much with the outside world, or the spell can be undone. Our boy stood up while taking the hot coffee into his hands, and multiple notifications popped up, telling our boy that his constitution point was constantly increasing. He knew that using his clones to hunt while just lying around and getting stronger was actually feeling amazing. But now, it was time for him to get control of the sea iguana once again, who was still hunting and preying mutant animals, leveling up at a constant pace. This time, the prey for our boy was a full-blown barracuda, but this one was also mutated and was way larger and stronger than the normal ones. Even when normal barracudas were about 2 meters long, the mutated ones are over 5 meters, and its speed was incredible, with teeth which are even harder than steel. Chen realized that if Iguana was not able to use the strong external force field of our boy, the creature might have already been hurt badly. Chen realized that the number of mutated fish was increasing in the sea and the ocean, resulting in him getting a lot of experience for free. The iguana started eating the barracuda, and Chen saw from his senses that the meat was clearly different, and it was providing much more energy than before. Chen got a notification in the office that, as his clone had devoured a giant barracuda, he gained 90 evolution points and 9 constitution points. Even when Chen knew that the barracuda fish had something unusual about it, he decided to not pay much attention to it. And as his muscles and bones were enhancing at an increasing pace, for Chen, it was even more than 10 times of what he used to be. And it was a shame that in such a vast ocean, the iguana was not able to find another barracuda who was as powerful as this one. Meanwhile, as the scene shifts, we come to the reception of the shell office, where ladies were talking to each other, wanting to know if Chen had a girlfriend or not. The ladies turned around, asking the receptionist if she was trying to make a move on our boy. But suddenly, Chen came behind them, asking them if they were not off work yet. The receptionist immediately sat down quietly, and the secretary grabbed her file and came running towards our boy, telling him that they still have a few things to finish up. Meanwhile, Chen had heard everything that the girls were talking about due to his enhanced hearing, but to avoid awkwardness, he was just pretending that he did not hear anything. All of a sudden, Chen smiled while losing his tie, trying to impress the girls, and telling them that as they were working so hard, dinner was on Chen tonight. The ladies were actually impressed by this kind gesture. As the scene shifts, we come to the Above the Clouds restaurant once again, where the same lady came towards Chen, asking him about what he would like to order. Meanwhile, all the girls came out of the car now, not able to believe that Chen had a luxury vehicle which he drives, and it was worth more than 2 million. The ladies were impressed back to back by such a lavish lifestyle which our boy was living. After the order was done, the receptionist lady told our boy that the total cost came to 50,000. But Chen was not flinched by this amount and gave the lady his golden card to swipe and pay the bill. The receptionist was not able to believe that Chen was so rich, wondering about the lineage and family he is from. But the secretary was a bit financially minded, pointing out that Chen was just throwing his money around. But our boy immediately diverted the topic, telling the girls that he had something to handle tonight, so he will let the girls have their ride back to their respective places after dinner. They immediately changed their manner, thanking their boss and having the lavish meal which was offered to them. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen's car was parked near the seaside, and the sea breeze was so soothing that it was really lifting the spirits of our boy. We see that Chen had not stopped training his body even when he was busy flexing his money. His physique was now over 20 times of that of an ordinary person, and his punch strength was exceeding more than 2 tons. But added to that, Chen also had the external force field which doubled his strength, and his punches were now close to more than 5 tons. But our boy already realized that the stronger he gets, the harder it is actually to control the power. While Chen was training, he even lost his footing and completely obliterated the rock in front of them, realizing that he needed to keep training to get used to his strength. But suddenly, Chen heard a rattling noise like a motor spinning, and as he turned around, he saw a small boat at the distance. Chen was not able to understand about why there are people in such a remote place so late at night, and as the scene shifts, we see that the people in the boats were actually smugglers who were doing a deal with some other people. They have brought treasures and valuables which they were giving to the opposite party while demanding the money first, so that they, as the ground team, was taken care of. Now it was the turn for the people who were riding the boat. Chen justified his actions by thinking that as these people have already done illegal businesses, and taking them out was practically doing free public service. As Chen was not fast enough to swim in the sea, we see that he ordered his sea iguana to chase the boat with insane speeds. Finally, the sea iguana caught the motorboat with its insane speeds, and the people on the boat were not able to understand about what hit them from the ground. The peoples of the boat started falling down onto the sea, and the sea iguana was now ready to hunt them down, one by one. One of the men saw the mysterious creature and told everyone after surfacing that there is a monster inside the water. All of them started screaming for help and over-swimming as fast as they can. But the iguana was not going to let any one of them escape, bouncing the humans out of the water and grabbing them one by one with its ferocious teeth. But one of the people from the group was so dumb that he decided to take out a pistol and shoot the creature, because he thought that a literal water monster cannot run away in the sea full of water. But the harsh skin of the sea iguana actually damaged the bullet itself, and it got split into 2 halves by the razor-sharp shells. The man who shot the pet was now actually doomed. And finally, the sea was quiet, and we see that the sea iguana was carrying a giant briefcase in his mouth. Sometime later, the scene shifts to the room of our boy, where he had grabbed the suitcase from the iguana and brought it home. He opened up and saw that the bag was full of money, which meant that the total amount inside the briefcase was 3 million, because there were 300 stacks of bills. Even our boy was wondering that the cash which is laid out in front of an individual always feels so much more real than the numbers which show in the bank balance. The day passes, and it was the next morning at the cafe, where Chen was sitting and sipping his coffee along with his secretary, who was handling all the work. Meanwhile, all the other teenagers were having their dirty eyes onto the lady, complimenting her and discussing with one another about how stunning she actually looks. But the lady was such a human that she was giving off a cold and untouchable vibe. She approached our boy and asked him to sign some of the contracts. For the boys, the surprises were still not over, because they were not able to believe that the lady was getting paid by such a young man, and she was the secretary who can satisfy all the needs of our boy if he demanded. Chen stood up after his work was done, calling out to the secretary and telling her that they should go back to the company and notify everyone that they are having a meeting. As soon as Chen left the cafe, the two teenagers were feeling really lightheaded because just by the presence of our boy, the other males were terrified to even move. As the scene shifts, we come to the meeting room where Chen was hosting a statistical meeting, telling everyone that if the employees handled every little detail with caution, they can become the company's heroes. And as long as the company's performance keeps going up, everyone will get a big bonus on the year end. But suddenly, Chen got a voice note from someone that today was the last day to register for school, and he was the only one who did not register for the next year. Chen decided to hold the meeting for a while and go to the school for now. He ordered everyone to take a leave, because there was not much work to do inside the company. He added that the secretary lady would be in charge of the company matters when Chen would not be there. The receptionist and the worker lady was actually stunned by knowing that Chen was actually still a student. The scene shifts to the university campus where Chen parked his luxurious car and got out of it while taking out his fancy sunglasses. Every student in the college was talking about our boy, and this news spread like wildfire, also appearing in the university campus forum. But suddenly, we see the familiar back of the lady who was not able to remember that she was saved by our boy when she was hella drunk. The lady was getting attracted by our boy after watching all the video of him. She stalking about him and came to know that he was the student of the junior year in the finance department. This news shocked her to the core because Chen was actually in the same year as the lady himself. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was strolling in the college campus, wondering that his body and strength were improving really rapidly. But as he only knows the 8 extremities, cloud steps, and leg technique, he should learn new skills, which will provide them better control and let him use his current power to the fullest. He thought that he should join the taekwondo club in the university, but it was all just fancy moves and no foundation, so he scrapped the plan. He decided that if he wanted to have control over his strength, he will just have to keep training himself. After the university registration was done, Chen got to a steel factory, telling the receptionist that he wanted to custom order some high-quality steel which weighed about 100 tons or more. Realizing the sheer quantity of the order, the female immediately told Chen to wait at the VIP lounge so that she can get in touch with the sales manager. Finally, the deal with the sales manager was done, and Chen ordered a steel pillar along with a few steel blocks, weighing 1, 5, 10, and 20 tons each. Based on his requirements, the sales manager told Chen that the total steel would weigh about 200 tons and the estimated cost for making the pillar, and the blocks would be around 700,000. But Chen had no time to deal with such trivial matters as he smiled and told the salesman that they would sign the contract then and now. The scene shifts to the next morning, where Chen came to the makeshift dock of the company, where the boat's secretary told him that the whole area was his warehouse, and he can do anything he wants in there. Chen ordered the secretary to go away, while wondering that he still had a long way to go. He decided to use the steel pillar for marking his training ground. He knew that the maximum evolution points that he can get for the iguana was actually 100 per day, and compared to the lizard's progress, his body was way too slow. Meanwhile, we have a look at the crime scene where Chen defeated all the boat dealers. These people were all big shots from the underworld, and the police was actually trying to catch them from a long while. But a strange man has did their job instead, and the officer had also found another pile of bodies at the sea too, with a broken motorboat. Meanwhile, inside the company, the secretary told Chen that the company has no work every day, and everyone is just playing around. The secretary was in the favor of doing some advertisement, but Chen told her while having a massage at the costly chair that they should wait for a rich fish to bite. The lady was not so confident at this answer of our boy, wondering if anyone would come to them if they do not advertise themselves. But just then, the main office door started getting slammed by a lady, and the receptionist told Chen that someone was there to see him because they have got a business deal to discuss. Even the secretary was shocked to see how right our boy actually was, and the baffled expression was easily visible on her face. We see that along with the lady, a strange man came inside the office, asking Chen about where Zhang was, but Chen informed the man that he and his people are all under him now. The man was impressed by the audacity of Chen for controlling Zhang. He introduced himself as Wang, and Chen offered him a good seat so that they can sit down and talk. And the secretary got away from the matters, telling them that she will make some tea instead. Wang came straight up to the point, telling Chen that he knows the location of a centuries-old sunken ship, which is worth at least tens of millions, and the man needed the help of Chen to take the goods out so that he can sell the items. Chen wanted them to decide the split beforehand, and Wang wanted the split to be 70 and 30, which was the rate even with international teams. But Chen was smart, telling Wang that if he needed international rates, then he should have hired an international team. Chen came straight to the point, telling Wang that the split should be 50-50, otherwise the deal is off. This felt like a stab straight into Wang's heart, but he knew that private salvage is impossible with such an ancient ship, and Chen's company was his only shot. Chen also assured the man that his work will be done really fast, and if he was not so trusting, he should come to the dock and see for himself. But Wang liked the confidence of our boy, telling him that the deal was done, and the next morning they should get to work. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the deputy police office, where the man was scratching his head due to all the evidences he had got. All the exaggerated claw marks and teeth signs were signifying towards a fairly dangerous creature, but he was not able to understand about what type of species it was. The man immediately sent a mail to the higher-ups, demanding further investigation about this matter. As the scene shifts back to the warehouse, where Chen has brought the secretary to the steel pillar which he had brought. When the secretary asked our boy to explain what it was, we come to know that it was some kind of a stabilizer, which can stabilizes the waters and holds back the sea dragon kings, which are ferocious monsters coming at the docks. But just making this thing had cost a fortune to our boy, and all his money just flew away, with only a few 100,000 left. As the scene shifts, we come to the garden complex, where the secretary got off. She was going straight up onto her house, but she turned around and asked our boy to come upstairs and have some water at least. But Chen calmly declined this offer, telling the lady that he had something else to do for now. But just then, the lady remembered that whatever she did was a really bold move, because even her underwear and all the night clothes were still lying around inside the house, and it would have been pretty embarrassing. Meanwhile, Chen was thinking that he should train some more, because at the dinner earlier in the office, he accidentally snapped his chopsticks due to his immense strength. He knew that he still needed to practice controlling his strength, and training was the key. He had to achieve perfect mastery to use all of his powers. Even when Chen's aura shield can now cover up to 30 meters and he can sense every movement of wind and grass around him, it was still not enough. He needed refinement even more than before. The scene shifts to 3 days later, where we see that the iguana was actually having a hearty meal, gaining plus 210 evolution points and 21 constitution points. Chen gained the mind control once again. Chen that the ship was 200 meters to the left of his cargo, about 700 or 800 meters deep. And finally, Chen started scouting the area while controlling the sea creature. The water pressure inside was making him uncomfortable, even after gaining so much strength. But as the creature scouted the area thoroughly, there was not even a single sign of the ship below. Even when Wang was a little surprised by how fast Chen had scanned through all the areas, he told his secretary to look for the exact coordinates, and the man told Wang that after hundreds of years, the location of the ship might have shifted due to the water pressure. The secretary calculated the new location, telling Chen to move a kilometer east from where he was, and as the iguana did so, along with the power of the senses and the insane speeds that the creature has got, Chen was finally able to get the sunken ship and made it to the surface without much problem. Finally, the secretary of Wang opened the suitcase of antiques and informed him that 8 pieces of the antiques were broken. But even when just 3 of the 11 were intact, the estimated value of these pieces was about 30 million, and if sold privately, they could get 20 million easily. Finally, Wang decided to sell the item and collect the money. Just a few days later, Wang informed Chen that the total amount of the antiques came over 23 million, and each person was going to get 11.5 million for their work. Wang even wanted Chen to count all the money, but Chen just smiled, telling Wang that he trusts a good guy, and there was no need to count the money at all. Wang was again impressed by this kind gesture of our boy, promising him to contact him the next time he had any info on a sunken ship. Finally, Chen was happy that his money problem was solved, but still, inside his mind, a thought lingered about his strength, which was still too weak. He knew that he needed to train to the point where sniper bullets and grenades won't affect him, but it was something which he will have to practice eventually. It was the next day at the industry where the receptionist told Chen that someone has submitted a resume for work, but as Chen looked at the letter which they got, he immediately realized that it was just a scammer. The receptionist asked our boy about what he had been doing since the last few days, and Chen informed the lady that he had a big project and made a few millions from it. The lady was actually impressed by our boy, and looking at that, even Chen thought that he would treat the lady after the day was done. Meanwhile, another lady worker from behind was listening to everything, thinking that working inside this new office was actually really awesome, and even the salary was good. She wondered about if she was actually developing some kinds of feeling for our boy. But the scene shifts, and we come to the same restaurant once again, where the ladies were enjoying their costly food, and Chen was gladly talking to them and laughing around. But suddenly, a blonde-haired guy appeared behind Chen, asking him if he was the owner of the marine. The man introduced himself as Lai Tianrui, the deputy general manager of Tianhong Group and a friend of Wan Tianhua. Chen greeted Tianrui, who explained that he wanted to organize a sea fishing trip and asked if Chen was interested in collaborating. Chen replied that as long as it was profitable, he was interested and suggested Tianrui visit Tianla Marine Company the next day to discuss the details. Lenju approached and handed Tianrui Chen's business card. Tianrui accepted it, confirming that he would see Chen the following day. Chen agreed, and they parted ways. After Tianrui left, Xiaohui remarked that she hadn't expected him to be so young. Nixon asked if Tianhong Group was truly a major company, to which Xiaohui replied that its chairman was worth tens of billions far wealthier than the richest man in City. Xiaohui speculated that since Tianrui shared the chairman's surname, he was likely a relative. Nixon was awestruck, exclaiming about Tianhong's vast wealth, while Lenju excitedly added that it was incredible to run into the son of the richest man in the region over a casual meal. Shen smiled to himself, amused that even someone as privileged as Tianrui was drawn to shipwrecks. Later that night, Shen marveled as the iguana caught a bluefin tuna. He thought it was a remarkable coincidence, considering he had just told his employees about the value of a single bluefin tuna over 10 million yuan, and now not one, but 2 were in their possession. The iguana rushed to the warehouse and deposited the fish in an ice-filled box. Chen, aware of the fish's immense value despite its unremarkable taste, joked to the iguana that it wasn't just a fish, it was practically money swimming in the sea. The next step, he thought, was finding a buyer to sell it off. The following day, Chen was in his training room when Lenju informed him that Tianrui had been waiting at the office for some time. He replied that he would head over immediately. A short while later, he arrived at Tianwen Marine Company and met with Tianrui. Tianrui shared that he had the exact coordinates of a shipwreck. Curious, Chen asked why someone with the wealth of Tianhong Group would be interested in shipwrecks. Tianrui responded that no one ever feels they have too much money. Chen agreed with him and proposed a 50-50 split of the proceeds, which Tianrui accepted without hesitation. As their conversation continued, Chen found Tianrui fascinating. It was clear from his demeanor that Tianrui wasn't just after the treasure aboard the ship. Chen then asked if Tianrui knew anyone who owned a high-end seafood restaurant, explaining that he had a 4-meter bluefin tuna to sell. Tianrui was impressed that such a prized fish was within Chen's reach and confirmed that he knew someone who owned a seafood restaurant. Offering to help, Tianrui called his contact and suggested that they have lunch together so he could introduce Chen to the restaurant owner. Later, they arrived at the warehouse. As a man named Lin rushed inside to inspect the fish, Chen shouted for him to slow down, joking that the fish wasn't going anywhere. The man examined the bluefin tuna and declared that its quality was impeccable, with every aspect meeting a great standards. Lin, visibly impressed, remarked that the fish was truly top-notch and offered a flat price of 7 million yuan, noting that they were all friends. Without hesitation, Chen agreed. Lenju, meanwhile, was astonished that a single fish could sell for such an astronomical amount. A few hours later, they arrived at the Marriott International. Chen told Lenju that they had a great haul today, so they should splurge a little. Lenju was amazed, knowing that Marriott International was a hub for the world's top luxury brands, the epitome of indulgence. Watching him buy numerous high-end items with ease, she couldn't help but think that her boss's money came far too easily. After spending a fortune on shopping, they returned to the dock warehouse. Lenju's gaze lingered on his watch, knowing it was worth 2 million yuan. She thought about the luxury goods he had bought for her, which were likely worth over 2 million yuan as well. Inside the warehouse, Chen mentioned that he wanted to buy a villa and asked her to keep an eye out for one. He specified that it should be big and spacious, preferably in a quieter location, as he valued peace and quiet, adding that a villa worth around 30 million yuan would suffice. Lenju simply nodded and assured him she would handle it. Later that night, Chen, controlling the iguana, spotted 2 massive submarines in the depths. He swam away, lamenting that he wasn't yet strong enough to take on such formidable vessels, otherwise he would have torn them apart. As he continued to explore, he noticed something enormous hiding beneath a massive reef. Feeling a sense of danger, he chose to retreat, deciding there was no need to take unnecessary risks. However, as he was swimming away, a giant crab emerged from its hiding spot and launched a powerful claw strike in his direction. Chen narrowly dodged the attack, glaring at the creature in frustration and questioning if it thought he was easy prey. Swimming around to face the crab, he immediately assessed that it was far stronger than the mutated ribbonfish he had previously encountered. The crab repeatedly lunged at him with its sharp claws, but he evaded the attacks with ease, using his speed to his advantage. Chen noticed that the force behind the crab's strikes exceeded 10 tons, which he found both alarming and fascinating. With a burst of speed, he dashed toward the crab and slashed through its hard shell with the iguana's sharp claws, killing it instantly. However, he realized that fully absorbing the crab's benefits would take time and decided to let the iguana eat it slowly. While the iguana feasted on the giant crab, Chen opened his laptop to review reports of unusual marine phenomena from recent years. Reflecting on his encounters with the giant ribbonfish, triggerfish, and now the enormous crab, he suspected that the world was undergoing significant changes. One post he read detailed the disappearance of SSN 698, an M-country nuclear submarine, which vanished at a depth of 600 meters in the Pacific after being attacked by an unknown giant sea creature. Another post described a nuclear submarine in the Arctic colliding with an underwater iceberg, resulting in the deaths of all 127 crew members. Chen noted that these incidents had all occurred within the past 2 years, suggesting that the deeper one ventured, the stronger these mysterious creatures became. Checking on the iguana, he saw that the system displayed significant gains. The iguana's evolution points had increased by 290 and 280, boosting Chen's constitution by 29 and 28 points, respectively. The iguana had now grown to an impressive size of 18 meters, and its physical stats had skyrocketed. Its bone structure, muscle strength, and overall physical attributes had reached entirely new levels. Chen tested his strength by punching an iron pole repeatedly. Even after multiple strikes, his hand remained unscathed. Examining his hand, he was pleased to see that there were no scratches, concluding that even a handgun would struggle to do more than scratch his skin. With his natural armor and heightened reaction speed, he surmised that ordinary bullets wouldn't even leave a dent on him. Chen went to the Xinhua bookstore to get some books. He thought that since the world isn't as simple as he had thought, learning and reading are always the right choices. While Chen was reading books, a girl noticed him and asked her friend to look at how handsome he is. Her friend suggested she go ask for his contact info, but she was shy and didn't dare approach Chen. Later, Chen returned home and took out 2 martial arts books that his father had given him, telling him that only through continuous learning could he keep improving. He went to his warehouse and started practicing those techniques. After practicing for a while, Chen realized that Bajiquan and Xingyiquan seemed simple, but mastering them is no easy task. While he was practicing, he suddenly received a call from Manager Li. When Chen picked up the call, Manager Li told him that they had arrived. Chen said all right, and told Manager Li to send him his location, and his people would be underwater in half a day. A little later, Chen connected his mind to his sea iguana and went to the location Manager Li gave him. When he arrived, he saw gold in a box. Chen called and told Manager Li that they had found gold and some shattered porcelain. When Manager Li heard that, he asked Chen if they saw a special box. He told Chen that as long as he could find that box, everything else on the shipwreck was his. Chen said all right and told Manager Li he would ask around. Chen first took the gold, as just that gold alone was worth over 20 million. As for the special box, after looking around for a few minutes, Chen also found a small box, which looked completely different from the others. But when Chen looked inside that box, there was just a pile of black mud. Chen had no idea what Manager Li wanted with it, but he handed it over to Manager Li. With full excitement, Manager Li opened the box, but only mud was inside it. Seeing that, Manager Li's jaw dropped, and he started crying over his elixirs, which were supposed to be inside that box. On the other hand, the police had found some more dead bodies near the seacoast. After checking the dead bodies, a policeman told the deputy chief that just like the people who died earlier, all their blood was gone. Their muscles dried up like jerky, but the time of death was only about 10 hours ago. The deputy chief decided to wait for the higher-ups to come down and investigate. He was slightly suspicious because all the victims were thugs, with no family ties, but physically strong. The deputy chief ordered the policeman to write up a report later and shut down all entertainment venues in the city. But even after doing all that, later that night, some men died, and all their blood was sucked dry like all the other victims. The deputy chief was shocked to find that some more people had died. He could not understand how 4 more people died when everything was clearly shut down. Days passed, and this continued happening. On the other hand, Chen continued his training in the warehouse. After a few days of training, he made great progress in both Bajiquan and Xingyiquan. After Chen learned those techniques, he received a system notification saying, "You have comprehended a new martial art technique. Please name it." Chen decided to call it Explosive Fist. because it combines Bajiquan's 8 extreme stance and Xingyiquan's half-step Benquan. It's one step, one explosion. Fists like cannonballs. Meanwhile, a fishing boat was deep-sea fishing. The owner of the ship was very happy because he finally caught the fish after chasing the school for so long. However, he was very cautious because the investment this time was huge, and just one fishing net costs millions, so he couldn't afford any mistakes. Suddenly, alarms started ringing. A worker told the owner that there was a hole in the middle of the net, and the fish were escaping. Shocked to hear that, the owner asked the worker to pull the net up quickly. A few minutes later, the worker told the owner that their detector shows nothing, but the net wouldn't budge. The reason the net had a hole and would not budge was because Chen's sea iguana was inside it. With a single bite, the sea iguana takes dozens of fish at once. Chen was connected to the sea iguana and was very satisfied with this delivered feast. He was not worried at all because he knows that with his water affinity, those sonar detectors can't detect him at all. After eating hundreds of fishes, Chen said, "It's time to head home now that I'm full." The sea iguana left, and the owner retrieved the fishing net, but was shocked to see a huge hole in his fishing net. He started crying, wondering why all his fishing nets are broken and his fish are gone. He could not understand what kind of monster or divine being could be behind this. That same evening, while Chen was resting on the dockside, he got a message call from Manager Lee. When Chen picked up the call, Manager Lee told Chen that he is heading back to N City, and to show his gratitude, he will take Chen to a great place tonight. Chen laughs and said, "If young Master Lee invites me, I've got to check it out." Then at night, Chen went to Mengluo Elegant Pavilion with Manager Lee. A very beautiful girl in traditional Chinese clothes welcomed them to the Mengluo Elegant Pavilion. Manager Lee enters and asks the girl if anyone booked the Yunxiao Hall. The girl smiles and told Manager Lee that it's always reserved for him. The Yunxiao Hall he was speaking about was a very luxurious hall where many beauties were present to serve Chen and Manager Lee. Some were dancing for them, and some were standing beside to fulfill all their needs. Seeing the atmosphere of the Yunxiao Hall, Chen thought, no wonder the king neglects his duties. There's a reason. Places like this are perfect for soaking in the atmosphere. Then after indulging, Chen left the Mengluo Elegant Pavilion and went home in his car. But with high speed, someone was following him. Chen's internal energy activated, and with that, Chen realized that something was following him. The person's aura was making him uncomfortable. It felt like the night Chen was being stalked by that giant lizard. Chen smiles, wondering if it's a monster or a ghost. This was very exciting for Chen, as it had been a while since Chen stretched his legs. But while Chen was driving, suddenly a couple driving in their luxury car called and asked Chen if he wanted to spar. Seeing them, Chen got annoyed because if there were many people, maybe the one following Chen might stop. So, to leave them behind, Chen sped up his car and then made a scary turn towards the seacoast. Seeing Chen's insane turn, the couple stopped their car, wondering if he was trying to kill himself. Meanwhile, after leaving that couple behind, Chen still didn't slow down and continued towards the seacoast. At Chen's speed, even the fastest car couldn't keep up, but Chen was surprised to see that the one following him was still sticking close. This made him realize that it's no weakling. When Chen reached a secluded part of the seaside, he stopped the car. Exiting the car, Chen called out to the person following him, saying, "I'm not a bad guy. You can come out." Hearing this, a girl hiding behind a tree stepped out. She was the same girl who had welcomed Chen and Manager Lee into the hotel. She smiled and said, "What a funny way to talk, big brother. I was just bathing by the sea, and someone took my clothes. Could you grab me something to wear?" Hearing that, Chen responded, "You want clothes? I'll get some for you right now." Saying that, he charged towards the girl, and using his full power, he punched her in the face. But what Chen saw behind the tree shocked him. The girl turned into fog, and when the fog cleared, a very scary-looking female monster appeared. After seeing Chen's strong and rich life force, she immediately attacked him, saying, "I really want to eat you." Surprised by the sudden attack, Chen backed off and asked the monster what she was. The monster told Chen that it was human too, but just a more perfect version. She laughed and told Chen that eating him was like eating hundreds of healthy, energetic people, enough to help her complete the first stage of evolution. This monster could also use internal energy like Chen and attacked him with it, but Chen jumped and dodged all her attacks. He then moved very fast and got behind the monster saying, "You want to eat me? Let's see if you've got what it takes." The monster was surprised by Chen's speed, but had no idea what was coming next. To finish her in one go, Chen used his internal energy and punched her with full power. Chen's punch destroyed the ground around him and sent the monster flying. The monster fell on the ground and was heavily injured. She could not understand how it was possible because Chen clearly didn't have the aura of an awakened being. After getting heavily injured, the monster started hiding in the trees, but it was futile because Chen began destroying all the trees. When Chen destroyed the trees, the monster moved into the rocks. Chen was surprised to see that this monster could fuse with tree trunks and stones. However, every time Chen attacked its attachments, its aura weakened. He understood it was the monster's weakness and used that to his advantage. After a few minutes of fighting, the monster finally fell to the ground, clinging to its last breath. Chen told the monster that fusing with tree trunks and rocks was a nice survival skill, but unfortunately, it had run into him. He then asked her to answer a few questions for him, and he would grant her a quick death. The monster laughed and asked Chen if she looked like someone who was afraid of dying. She looked at the sky and said, "What beautiful moonlight. Too bad I won't see it again, but it's fine. I've already avenged myself." She told Chen that if she had just one more month, she could have completed her shadow transformation. By then, not even a war god would scare her, but instead, she ran into someone like him in a plain old city. After saying all this, the monster's body started to turn into dust and disappeared. Just as she died, Chen received a system notification telling him that he had killed a corruptor and gained 10 attribute points. Chen was confused to see the notification and wondered what this corruptor was and why he was given attribute points. Another system notification came telling Chen that attribute points could enhance skills, strengthen weapons, and improve him. They could also unlock special abilities like lightning, ice, fire, and many more. Looking at that message, Chen thought that since he already had extraordinary powers, and soon the giant lizard would too, he smiled, understanding that with the use of these attribute points, his sea iguana could turn into a real-life Godzilla. Chen then left the seaside and went to his warehouse, where he started searching for information related to Corruptor and Awakener on his computer. However, his search found no relevant information. Realizing that the authorities had blocked these details, he thought, "It's fine. I'm too weak now. But when I become stronger, I will explore that world again. Maybe after my physique goes above 10,000, then no one could stop me." While he was thinking this, suddenly a system notification came asking Chen to please choose an element to enhance. He could choose from wind, fire, water, earth, lightning, light, or dark, and as his current physique was insufficient, only a basic element could be strengthened. Seeing that notification, Chen immediately chose lightning to enhance as he had decided beforehand. When Chen used attribute points to enhance his extraordinary abilities, he acquired lightning mastery and 1 mental stat. After acquiring the lightning mastery, Chen immediately checked it, but could only create small thunder between his fingers. It was a beginner version of lightning powers, but even with that, Chen was happy and took it. Chen immediately checked his status window. Currently, he is level 1 with 465 physique and 57 mental control points. As techniques, he has external chi at the beginner level, chi sense also at the beginner level. As skills, he has collapsing punch at beginner level, sky step at intermediate level, spring kick also at intermediate level. As abilities, he has lightning mastery at beginner level. Now he has 0 attribute points. He has 1 clone named Scaled Thorn Lizard, which has evolved 2 times. It is already a mature beast and aims to become a beast lord. It needs 5,000 points for the next evolution, and currently has 3,190 points. Its abilities are Observation Haki, Armament Haki, and its talents are Water Affinity and Lightning Mastery. Seeing the status window, Chen was surprised to see that even Lightning Mastery has experience points and can be improved through training. After acquiring the lightning attribute, he connected with his sea iguana. While looking around, he saw a huge fish. The sea iguana immediately attacked the fish, and its attack included some lightning power. The fish, hit by the sea iguana's lightning attack, died instantly. It was another mutated sea beast, no less threatening than the giant spider from last time. When the sea iguana ate the fish, it gained 980 evolution points. Chen was surprised to see that even the giant lizard now has lightning mastery, and it's stronger than his own. Meanwhile, at N City Airport, the police deputy chief was there to receive 2 agents from the Special Affairs Bureau. One man in a black suit introduced himself as Huang Jimfeng and thanked the deputy chief in advance for his cooperation. The second man, in a white suit, introduced himself as Nangom Jian, lead investigator for Case 907, and asked the deputy chief to show them the body. The deputy chief then took the 2 men to the mortuary to show them the dead body. Pointing at the body, he told them that this person died last night, the only corpse found. For 4 days before this, 4 people mysteriously died each night. The man in the black suit used some spiritual aura and when he pointed it at the dead body, the monster's aura that had killed the man appeared. Seeing the spiritual aura and the monster's aura, the deputy chief was shocked, but before they could gather any more information, the monster's aura disappeared. The man in the white suit told the other that the killer is dead, which surprised the man in the black suit. At the same time, Chen was at his warehouse, practicing his techniques. He was scared because his power grew too fast, and he couldn't control it. Just tonight, when he dropped off Nixin, she asked him if he wanted to come upstairs for tea. Chen declined, saying he had plans. He didn't dare visit Nixin's house because he was scared he would break her couch just by sitting on it. He also couldn't get too close to her because he was afraid he might accidentally crush her bones. After practicing and collecting his thoughts, the next day, Chen went to buy a villa. A broker showed Chen the villa and told him that the main building is 560 square meters, with a 70 square meter front yard, a 200 square meter backyard, and an 80 square meter pool hall. The broker told Chen that the buyer paid in full, including furniture worth over $1 million, for a total price of $34 million. Chen offered $25 million, saying he would buy it outright. Just as he took out his phone to transfer the money, he suddenly received a call asking for help, saying they saw a monster, and then the call ended. Chen was surprised to hear that. Meanwhile, the two special agents were on the rooftop of a building looking at the city. The man in the black suit told the man in the white suit that there has been no unusual activity since last night. The corruptor is truly dead, but he thinks it's strange because the corruptor was in a semi-ethereal state. A being like that isn't something normal people could handle. He asked the man in the white suit if they should stay and investigate, suggesting they might as well check out the city's bustle. But the man in the white suit told him to use the time to train. Otherwise, when the apocalypse hits, he will just be cannon fodder. Surprised? The man in the black suit asked the man in the white suit what he meant by an apocalypse. The man in the white suit then told him that their professor predicts the next spatial fluctuation will be 10 times stronger than it was 20 years ago. The most pressing matter at hand is to increase their capabilities across the board in anticipation of that day. With a serious expression, the man in the white suit said, "Only this way can we repay the country for nurturing us." Meanwhile, at the deep sea, Chen connected his mind with his sea iguana, and, while searching, finally found something valuable. However, stirring up too much sand earlier broke a lot of porcelain. Then Chen went to get a coffee at a cafe. He looked up on the internet to check the price of the things he found. Chen struck gold. He got one Song Dynasty piece worth at least a few million, maybe even tens of millions. It's too bad his carelessness destroyed so much. Otherwise, they all could have been worth over 100 million. While he was checking the internet, he suddenly heard a commotion. A waitress was shouting at a black-haired customer, asking him what he was grabbing. The customer argued with the waitress, telling her not to accuse him. But then he started smiling and said, "Miss, since you said I grabbed something, should I grab for real now?" Another customer sitting nearby asked the black-haired man how he could be so shameless. As he saw it clearly, the black-haired customer argued with him too, saying, "So what if you did? If you're upset, try hitting me." The waitress got scared and tried to run away from there. Chen shot up from his seat and told the black-haired man that he had never met someone as arrogant as him. The black-haired man laughed and said, "Now you've met me today. If not happy, then try hitting me." Black-haired man challenged Chen, shouting, "Do you dare to come and hit me?" He laughed, calling Chen another hot-blooded youngster who only knows how to talk. This made Chen very angry. While walking towards the man, he asked the waitress if their store had surveillance cameras. Hearing Chen, the waitress understood what he meant and immediately disconnected the surveillance camera's power. After that, she told Chen that the cameras were broken. Chen smiled because now there would be no evidence. Seeing the waitress pull out the camera's power plug, the black-haired man got scared. Realizing that he had messed up, Chen moved towards the black-haired man and slapped him so hard that with just one slap, the man fell to the ground and lost consciousness. After slapping the man, Chen smirked, saying, "In this day and age, someone actually wants to get beaten up. How ridiculous." Chen then left the coffee shop and returned to the warehouse. While lying on the sofa, he practiced his new lightning ability. After a few minutes, a system notification came, telling Chen that his thunder control experience had increased by 10 and his mental strength by 1 point. While practicing, Chen thought to himself, "A human life, barely a century, is but a blink in the lifespan of a star, and one day I will break through the boundary of life and death." The next day, while leaving in his car, Chen asked his secretary to find some time to study accounting books, because she would have to handle the company's finances when the time comes. Chen added that he would pay her double. The secretary hesitated but accepted as her pay would double. Seeing Chen entering the car, she asked him where they were heading next. Chen told her that they were going to sell some stuff. After searching for a few minutes, they found a shop. The shop owner introduced himself as Gao, the owner of that antique shop. Chen pointed at the suitcase his secretary was holding and asked Mr. Gao if he could help them estimate how much this plate was worth. Mr. Gao asked both of them to come inside and discuss this upstairs. Chen opened his suitcase and showed Mr. Gao his ancient plate. While Mr. Gao was checking the plate, he found that it had the salty smell of seawater. He immediately realized that it was just salvaged. Mr. Gao then turned to Chen and told him that the plate was genuine but was part of a set, and he only had one piece, which lowers its value significantly. Chen laughed and admitted that it really was a set. He told Mr. Gao that when he found this porcelain bottle, there were plenty of others around it. Unfortunately, this was the only one that's intact. Hearing that, Mr. Gao said it was really a shame, and if it's just this one piece, he can only offer 4.5 million. Hearing the price, Chen closed the suitcase and told Mr. Gao that it was all right, and he would think about it. Then, after a few hours of wandering around many shops, Chen and his secretary were standing on the street. The secretary, while drinking a coffee, told Chen that after visiting so many stores, Mr. Gao still seemed the most genuine. Chen, who was eating some snacks, said, "Well, he did make the highest offer. Maybe we should just sell it to him." But Chen felt that there was something off about the look in Mr. Gao's eyes. That guy was definitely hiding something. Sometime later, in a luxurious villa's living room, Mr. Gao went to meet his boss. The boss asked Gao if he was saying he had found a lead on the sunken ship he was searching for. Mr. Gao showed the plate that Chen sold him and asked his boss to look at the porcelain, which had the official seal they had been looking for. Mr. Gao told his boss that the porcelain was sold to him by a young man, so that young man must know more details. The boss told Gao to give the information to Fox, and within half an hour, he wanted everything on that young man. A few minutes later, Mr. Gao had all the information about Chen. Gao told his boss that this young man was an ordinary college student who suddenly spent 3 million to buy a luxury car and even went overseas with Li Tianrui. Gao asked his boss if they should still take action after seeing the people backing him. The yellow-haired boss, Du Hong, laughed and told Gao to take action. At the same time, while Chen was lying on his bed, he remembered Mr. Gao handing him a form and asking him to fill it out, saying they would need his details for future transactions or auctions. At that time, Chen filled out the form, but he still felt like today's deal went unusually smoothly. Chen couldn't shake the feeling that Boss Gao was hiding something. He hoped that nothing strange would happen. The next day, Chen was leaving his apartment and was in the elevator. His last night really was uneventful. He wondered if he was just overthinking it. He decided to forget it and just head straight to school to check things out. There was another matter Chen was curious about. After absorbing the sea python, his strength, muscle density, and everything else had reached 50 to 60 times that of a regular person. He wondered if he could withstand gunfire now. While Chen was thinking, the elevator arrived at the ground floor. But outside the elevator, a guy in a hoodie was waiting for Chen. Just as Chen came out of the elevator, the thug grabbed Chen from behind and told him not to move or make a sound. He asked Chen to come with him. The thug had a gun pointed at Chen's back, so Chen decided to go with the thug. The thug took Chen into a car where his other partner was waiting. The thugs kidnapped Chen and headed to their base. While Chen was in their car, he acted scared and asked the thugs where exactly they were taking him because he didn't recall ever offending them. The thug who was driving told Chen that they were taking him to meet someone and asked him not to try anything. The thugs took Chen to an abandoned warehouse where many other thugs and their boss were waiting for him. The thugs told their boss that they had brought the guy. Hearing that, the thug boss looked at Chen angrily, shouting, "Let me see what kind of guy kept me waiting all night." After seeing the thug boss's face, Chen's attitude shifted from scared to his original calm self. With a smile, he asked, "Why is it just you guys?" Seeing Chen like that, all the thugs became alert. The thugs who kidnapped him were confused because he had been so scared earlier, but now he was suddenly calm. Chen's calmness was unnerving. The thugs immediately realized that something was off. The thug boss shouted, asking his men what they were standing around for. He told them to grab their weapons. All the thugs pointed their guns at Chen. With lightning speed, Chen turned around and kicked the thug standing behind him. The thug's gun went flying, and Chen kicked him again in the face. Chen quickly grabbed the gun, and the thug fell to the ground and died in just one move. Seeing that, the thug boss gripped his gun tightly and asked Chen to put the gun down. The other thugs did the same and put some distance between themselves and Chen. Nervously, the thug boss said, "You've got one gun, but I've got two. And by the way, your gun only has one bullet. You're surrounded by us." Hearing that, Chen smiled and asked the thugs if they hadn't figured it out yet. It was actually them who were surrounded by him. Chen looked down on the thugs and asked, "Now tell me, who's behind you? If you're honest, I'll make it quick for you." The thugs didn't agree with Chen and tried to get closer. So without any hesitation, Chen fired his last bullet, shooting the thug boss in the head and killing him instantly. Seeing that Chen was out of bullets, all the thugs shot at him. But Chen immediately threw his gun into the air and blocked the bullet, using his internal energy to grab the bullet aimed at his body. Seeing this, the thugs' jaws dropped. They were all shocked and scared, thinking he was a monster. After catching the bullet, Chen himself was amazed at how powerful he had become. After that, Chen began a one-sided beating of the thugs, leaving only one alive to get information. He asked the surviving thug who had sent them after him. The dying thug told Chen that it was the director of Manhwa Group, Chang Du-hong, who also owned the shop on Guan Street and lived at Guanshan Villa, number 3. Just as the thug disclosed this, the thug boss's phone started ringing. Chen picked up the thug boss's phone and answered the call, saying, "You're Du-hong, right? I'm Chen Chu. See you tonight." Hearing Chen's warning, Mr. Gao got a little scared and told his boss Du-hong that Chen was dangerous. Boss Du-hong told Gao to get ready, saying, "Let's see if this kid dares to come here." Meanwhile, Chen, having Du-hong's address, ran all the way to Du-hong's house. Chen was so fast that even a car traveling at 120 meters per second could not match his speed. Meanwhile, security at Du-hong's villa increased, with many bodyguards with guns patrolling and guarding the entire villa, including 3 bodyguards in Du-hong's office. After waiting for a few hours, Gao asked, "Do you think that Chen got cold feet?" Du-hong responded that Chen had single-handedly defeated 7 people who all had guns, indicating there was more to him than it seemed. Du-hong was not worried because he had a dozen gunmen and several dozen more loyal subordinates. Du-hong smiled and said it was time to put them to work. While they were talking, suddenly the whole villa's electricity was cut down, plunging it into pitch darkness. All the bodyguards panicked as they could not see anything. Guards beside Du-hong ordered the outside guards to activate backup power. Then they received a message that the main gate's CCTV was broken, followed by another message that even the front door's CCTV was broken. Du-hong started to get scared and ordered the bodyguards to shoot anyone who came in, no matter who they were. On the other hand, one by one, Chen took out all the bodyguards from the hallway and the garden. After that, he started banging on Du-hong's office door. The bodyguards inside the office aimed at the door and got ready to shoot. Chen broke down the office door and entered inside. Just as the door opened, Du-hong ordered the bodyguards to fire, but before they could even shoot, in the blink of an eye, Chen reached them and knocked down both of the bodyguards, and then walked towards Du-hong. Seeing Chen move so fast, Du-hong asked if he was awakened. Scared, Du-hong told Chen that he would give him 500 million if Chen left them 2 alive. Chen smiled and told Du-hong it was a tempting offer, but he couldn't leave the 2 alive after killing everyone else. Chen asked them to talk about those who've awakened, saying if they told him, he would make their deaths painless. Du-hong was very angry, but understanding that he had no choice, he began telling Chen about awareness. He recounted that in 1999 at Tiger Mountain Town, he was fighting for territory with over a dozen brothers, when suddenly a person covered in flames descended from the sky, turning the town into a sea of flames in the blink of an eye. When he went there the next day, that place was nothing but a huge lake, which the authorities called Sunken Lake. Hearing about that incident, Chen realized that awakened people are too powerful. He thought it was lucky that he wasn't making waves then. While Chen was lost in thought, Du-hong, who was hiding a gun underneath his table, tried to shoot Chen, but Chen moved to his right and dodged the bullet. In the next instant, Chen jumped over the table, kicked Goa in the face, and punched Du-hong, smashing his head on the ground. After killing both of them, Chen said, "Even if you're so rich, you're just an insect in my eyes. If you're within reach, you're as good as dead." After killing them, Chen burned Du-hong's villa. A few minutes later, the police arrived at Du-hong's villa and found it burnt to rubble. A policeman told the deputy chief that 31 bodies were found in total, one of which was the director of Manhwa Group. Looking at the villa, the deputy chief guessed that it was Chen, as they had found Chen's information in Du-hong's phone. The deputy chief guessed that Chen should also be responsible for the deaths of the people in the Red Forest. Seeing the unusual movement of the underground, the deputy chief understood that the next attack was imminent, so he was planning to give Chen a chance, but he's just too cruel. He's forsaken the straight and narrow. On the other hand, when Chen returned to his warehouse, he saw that the chicken he had was gone, and there were oil marks. It didn't take him long to understand that the person who came here last night was extraordinary. Chen decided to wait for that person to return again. While waiting, he connected himself with the sea iguana. He hunted another fish-like creature, and after devouring it, he obtained 67 evolution points and 6 stat points. Chen found that there were many more fish like that deep into the sea, and decided to take a look. When he got 1,200 meters below the surface, he found a live volcano under the deep sea, but the pressure below 1,200 meters started getting a little difficult for Chen to withstand, so he returned. Then, the next day at the warehouse, while Chen was waiting, someone holding a shopping bag arrived at the warehouse. While hiding behind a wall, Chen watched the man. Chen was not going to let the man run away. When the man's back was facing Chen, he immediately charged at the man with full power and punched him. But when the smoke cleared, Chen was shocked to see that there was nothing at all, and the man had disappeared. Chen started to wonder what power this was. A dimensional rift? A path into another world? What else could it be? While he was thinking, suddenly the ground underneath Chen turned blue. Immediately, a system notification came telling Chen that his body was being corrupted by polluted energy. Another notification came telling Chen that although his body was powerful enough to be immune, this resistance would be overcome after 5 hours. But Chen completely ignored the system notification because he was very excited, seeing the dimension connected to his warehouse. Just as he entered this other dimension, he saw a door and something standing outside. Before Chen could understand what was happening, the thing standing outside jumped to attack him. It was a green-colored humanoid monster whose head looked like a squid. Seeing that, even Chen got confused, wondering if it was a zombie or some other monster. Just as the monster tried to attack, Chen punched him in the face, blasting his head into pieces. A system notification came, telling Chen that he had killed a defective demon corpse and had gained 2 stat points. After killing that monster, Chen turned to the door. There was a signboard above the door saying, "Tiger Mountain Town welcomes you." Chen entered the door and found a whole town behind it. Seeing Tiger Mountain Town, Chen immediately remembered that it was the town that Du Hong told him had been flattened into a lake overnight. It didn't take long for Chen to understand that this town wasn't destroyed by humans. It was pulled into another world. Chen decided to return for now because it was dangerous here. While he was going back to the door from which he came, an orange-haired little girl was observing him while standing on a huge tree. That little girl had the chicken that was stolen from Chen's warehouse. She started eating that chicken in a hurry. On the other hand, while Chen was returning, he used those 2 points that he got after killing that monster to strengthen his electric powers. A system notification came, telling him that his stat points had been used to strengthen his ability to control electricity. His experience had increased by 20, and his spirit by 2. When Chen returned to his world, he checked the information about Tiger Mountain Town on the internet. He found out that Tiger Mountain Town had sunk and 30,000 people had disappeared. Chen was shocked to find that over 30,000 people disappeared with the town. He thought that if they all became monsters, he couldn't imagine how many stat points there would be. He took out his phone and called Manager Lee, asking if he could help Chen check where the displaced people from Tiger Mountain Town are now. Manager Lee told Chen that he would check tomorrow about Tiger Mountain Town. The next day, Chen went to the steel company, where he ordered his huge pillar and dumbbells. He asked the steel company manager to make him a small steel house and a large knife to decorate it. The knife must be 2 meters long, thick, durable, and sharp. The manager was shocked to hear about the 2-meter-long knife and told Chen that this might be difficult because there are regulations on the production of knives. Chen laughed and asked the manager if he thought anyone would carry a 60-kilogram knife, run around, and cause chaos. Left with no choice, the steel company manager agreed. Chen ordered this knife, thinking that since demon corpses are strange beings, what if he gets infected? While he was thinking that, it suddenly struck him that besides a knife and metal house, he might as well get a set of armor. He ordered that too. After that, he went to Hotel Haxian to meet Manager Lee. Manager Lee told Chen that there's so much conflicting information on the survivors of Tiger Mountain Town, and the authorities say the matter's settled, but when he checked, he found nothing on it. Hearing that, Chen confirmed that over 30,000 people were buried too. He immediately returned home in his car, then connected with the sea iguana. Today, Chen caught over 40 mutated tiger-headed fish and ate all of them in one go. He was still lacking 300 evolution points before he could evolve for the 3rd time. The next day, Chen went to the villa he had seen before to buy it. The salesman introduced him to a girl who was the owner of the villa. That girl complimented Chen, telling him that he had a good eye. But Chen got straight to the point and immediately took out money. He told the girl that they could begin talking after she inspected it. The girl was shocked to see $20 million in cash. After buying the villa, Chen returned to his warehouse, connected with the sea iguana, and started hunting. Today, he went 1,500 meters below the surface, and, during today's hunt, he gained 300 evolution points. A system notification came telling Chen that he had reached the maximum possible points for the next stage and asked if he wanted to evolve. Chen chose yes to evolve. Just as he chose the sea iguana's evolution to begin in the deep sea, its whole body got covered by internal energy. After the sea iguana's evolution, when Chen checked his internal energy, he found that it had increased significantly. Now, he can hear the sound of ants moving food from 100 meters away and 300 meters away. A patrolling security guard is complaining about his life. Chen's strength and speed have doubled, but he is as nimble as ever. He has leveled up to Earth tier, and his constitution has reached 1,000 along with his spirit, which has reached 200. Suddenly, Chen got a system notification telling him that now he has two talents. One is affinity for water, and the second is electric fire breathing, which helps him control over electricity. Chen was surprised to see his electric fire breathing talent, but it didn't take him long to understand that it should be because he ate all those mutated tiger-headed fish. On the other hand, when Chen connected to his sea iguana, he was shocked to find that it has become 40 meters long. At this point, it is not just an overgrown lizard. It is as big as Godzilla. Chen immediately tried his new electric fire breathing talent and shot flames from its mouth and found that he was too weak internally. His electric fire is average in terms of power. While Chen was wandering around the sea surface, he saw a pair of eyes in a crack looking at him. Chen realized that there's a big guy down there. Without hesitation, Chen went inside and found a huge fish, even bigger than Chen's Godzilla in size. Chen immediately grabbed the giant fish's mouth with his sharp claws. Chen thought that once he ate this fish, he would probably be able to snap an aircraft carrier in half with one bite. Without giving that fish any chance, Chen split the fish's head in one go and killed it. When he ate that tiger-headed fish, it gave him over 2,000 evolution points and a lot of fiery energy. After that, Chen went into a cave. This cave was that huge tiger-headed fish's territory. While he was checking that, suddenly he saw something which shocked him completely. He saw a skeleton of some kind of sea monster, which was 100 times bigger than Chen's Godzilla, but it was killed, and a huge metal nail was stuck in its head. It was too terrifying and gave Chen a sense of fear that he couldn't quite name. He saw that there was something in that huge skeleton's head, and the power in Chen's body was roiling towards it. Suddenly, a system notification came telling Chen that he had discovered an ancient factor and asked him if he wanted to absorb it. Chen immediately said yes, because he understood that this was something that would significantly increase his strength. Just as he chose, Chen's Godzilla's whole body got covered by huge amounts of energy. Another system notification came telling Chen that he had absorbed an ancient factor and was now undergoing an extraordinary evolution. He obtained the power of an ancient beast, Crimson Flame. Slowly, Godzilla started absorbing the energy of the Crimson Flame, and second by second, the energy of the Crimson Flame was increasing. Chen decided to test this Crimson Flame and opened its mouth and shot a beam of flame. This beam of flames was so strong that it destroyed a whole island in one go. Chen was shocked to see the terrifying show of power. With one blast of energy, an island disappeared. A few days later in the warehouse, Chen's 2-meter sword and titanium alloy armor had arrived. The sword weighed 120 kilograms, the perfect weight for Chen. He decided to call it the Heavenly Sword. He checked the titanium alloy armor and saw that it was not bad either. It was pretty handy in combat. After he was completely ready, he activated his detection technique. After he had evolved, he could detect other beings, and with that technique, he found out who was stealing his food, but he didn't expect it to be a little girl. He wondered if she was one of Tiger Mountain Town's survivors with special powers, or if she was a monster too. Chen decided to follow her, and following her, he entered the different domain where Tiger Mountain Town was. When he got there, hundreds of monsters were standing right in front of the town entrance. Seeing them, Chen thought that the town gets more lively at night. Without giving those monsters any chance to react, he jumped, and with just one strike of his sword killed one monster. A system notification came telling Chen that he had killed a demon corpse and obtained 5 stat points. Chen immediately used those points to strengthen his weapon, the Heavenly Sword. The system asked him to please choose which aspect he would like to strengthen, like durability, sharpness, armor-piercing ability, and damage against monsters, or elemental strengthening like wind, fire, lightning, electricity, and light. Chen chose to put 3 points into durability and 2 points into sharpness. After choosing that, he swung his sword again to kill more monsters. Suddenly, there was an explosion of energy and smoke spread everywhere. From that smoke, a huge monster with red glowing eyes came to attack Chen. This monster was fast and surprised Chen, but it was not fast enough to escape from him. With one strike, he killed that monster too. A system notification came telling Chen that he had killed a second-tier demon corpse and obtained 10 attribute points. His armor had strengthened to 15 points, and he had obtained a first-tier shock-deflecting ability. Chen immediately used 5 points to increase his armor's resilience and gave 5 points to increasing his sword's sharpness. While he was doing that, suddenly he noticed something. He saw monsters coming towards him. With lightning speed, Chen moved and sliced all those monsters into pieces with his sword. System notifications popped up like crazy, telling Chen that he had killed a second-tier violent demon corpse and gained 12 attribute points. After killing those monsters, Chen felt that something dangerous was behind him, and when he turned around, he saw a huge monster 10 times the size of a human standing behind, ready to attack. Chen was surprised by how big this one was, but he didn't panic, because he didn't get all those points for nothing. The huge monster tried to punch Chen with its full power, so Chen did the same and punched the monster with full power. Both of their punches collided, creating a powerful explosion, and both Chen and the monster were pushed back. Chen realized that this monster was basically as strong as him, but it was too slow, so it was no fun for Chen. He jumped high, and with 2 strikes killed the giant monster. A system notification came telling Chen that he had killed a 5th-tier armored demon corpse and gained 100 attribute points. He also discovered the demonic armor element and could now use 10 attribute points to absorb it. Seeing the notification, Chen thought, no wonder this monster was so strong. It was actually a 5th tier. It makes sense that I would need to hit it over 10 times to kill it. I am still lacking a one-hit knockout move. While Chen was fighting, he suddenly heard a child's voice telling others to run away. When Chen got there to see who it was, he found that orange-haired girl hiding under a table. Chen immediately recognized that she was the girl who stole his chicken, but also reminded him to run. She didn't seem to have any ill intent. When Chen got closer, he saw Shi written on the girl's clothes. He gently petted the little girl and said, "You're Shi, right? I'm Chen Chu. You're my little sister now, so I'll take care of you. Let's go, Shi. I'll bring you to the city and get you a new set of pretty clothes." Chen took the little girl and left that dimension. While going in the car, Chen pointed at the lake, which was created after the disappearance of Tiger Mountain Town, and asked Shi if she knew what that dark lake in the flooded area was. Shi, not knowing how to talk properly, somehow told Chen that it's the Black Tide. She didn't know what's there, but it's dangerous. Hearing that it's dangerous, Chen did not dig deeper. He went to a shopping mall and bought many beautiful clothes for Shi. He then returned to his villa and gave Shi food to eat. Seeing the food, Shi became very happy and immediately ran to eat it. Chen then checked his status window. He was still level with 1000 physique and 200 mental control. His acquired techniques were external QI at beginner level and QI sense also at beginner level. His acquired skills were collapsing punch at beginner level, sky step at intermediate level, and spring kick also at intermediate level. His acquired abilities were lightning mastery at beginner level and crimson flame at beginner level. He currently had 80 attribute points. He had 1 clone, a scaled thorn lizard which had evolved 3 times. It's a beast lord that has ancient origins. It has 2,400 evolution value and needs 10,000 points to evolve. Looking at his status window, Chen thought that when he was fighting, he was completely covered, which suppressed his internal energy. But even then, he was able to show an explosion of strength, which could be a guaranteed kill. So with the 80 attribute points left, he decided to use them to strengthen his armor. Now that Chen had removed his armor, he tried using his internal energy and was shocked to find that he had broken past the intermediate level. He is now at least 3 times stronger than before. At the same time at Ning University, some students were gathered for a meeting. A guy with glasses told the others that the place where they are training sounds like it's at least lieutenant level. Another guy corrected him and told him that it's a second lieutenant. A girl asked the glasses guy if he meant they had caught the eye of some secret department. Suddenly, another guy entered and told the girl that she was right. A special department had been established in the city. Once the training is over, successful participants will become lieutenants, but there will be various dangers. He also asked all the students if they wanted to join or give up. All the students replied in unison that they would join. On the other hand, at the warehouse, while training, Chen punched and created a hole in the iron pillar. His outer covering caused the Crimson Flame's power to coalesce inside him and then explode outwards. Chen decided that this would be his one-hit knockout OKO move. That punch had at least 150 tons of force, so he would call that move Exterminating Flame. He then continued, and after 100 punches, he stopped, thinking this should be more than enough training. Now, he was confident that if he ran into that demonic corpse again, 3 punches should do it. Chen then went to Ning University's campus in his luxury car. At the same time, the girl from that group of students was leaving the campus. She saw Chen and complimented that he was handsome. Jealous, her boyfriend told her it was an expensive car, so that handsome guy must have been born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He asked her why she cared about that man so much. The glasses guy told them that the handsome guy had saved Lin Roya from 4 kidnappers a month ago. Hearing that, the girl asked the glasses guy if that handsome guy was that powerful. Her boyfriend got more jealous and made fun of Chen, saying, "There is no way that little guy saved someone from 4 kidnappers. Maybe those were just some desperate guys, not real kidnappers." Well, leaving that aside, Chen went to his university's campus and played with Shishi. After playing, they sat at a table to enjoy ice cream. While Shishi was eating her ice cream, Chen connected to his Godzilla. Just as he connected, he saw a submarine right in front of his eyes. Chen scanned the submarine with his detection technique and found out that it was a yacht filled with bandits from Kangaroo Country, and that's why it was so small. It seemed like a good place for Chen to test his strength. In the submarine, the sonar detected a large life form 100 meters below rapidly approaching. They all panicked, seeing it moving towards them very fast. They were very scared because it was going to hit them, but they could not do anything against it. Chen's Godzilla scratched the outer layer of the submarine with its sharp claws. The 2 cabins at the back of the submarine were damaged and were leaking. Their sonar had been damaged as well. The captain of the submarine ordered his men to close the valves and stop the water from coming in, turn on the multi-beam bathymetry, set a destination, and get a picture of the surroundings. After a few minutes, a man told the captain that it was a huge creature around 40 meters long, even bigger than a blue whale. The captain was shocked, asking how something so big could exist since even blue whales are only 30 meters long. He ordered his men to close the back hatches and resurface. A man told the captain that the water ingress was severe and that the huge monster was still attacking. Hearing that, the captain ordered them to fire the torpedoes and set the turbines to their maximum power and resurface as fast as possible. Seeing the torpedoes coming, Chen turned around and swam away. He reached a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. At this speed, the torpedoes wouldn't be able to catch up to him. But this show had just started. Chen then took a turn and headed towards the submarine, and the torpedoes followed him. He immediately hid behind the submarine, and the torpedoes, unable to change their direction so fast, collided with the submarine and exploded with a huge explosion. Seeing the power of the explosions, Chen realized that if he were directly hit, he would definitely be injured. This made him understand that he had to get even stronger. Then, after eating the ice cream, Chen went to his university's evening party. There, a yellow-haired girl was performing a traditional dance. A man standing beside Chen complimented the girl, saying she was one of the 4 beauties from all the new students, and that she danced as nimbly as a bird. When Chen saw the yellow-haired girl's face, he immediately recognized her as the girl he had saved on the road where she was lying and had been drugged. She, sitting in Chen's arms, complimented the girl, saying she was very pretty. Lin finished off one of her performances and was ready to perform another act. But suddenly, one of the students climbed up onto the stage, telling the lady that he had fallen in love with her at first sight, and he wanted the lady to be his girlfriend and even marry him. But opposite to what he had expected, the lady immediately refused to comply to the man, telling him that if he had so much free time to hit onto the girls, he should get off the stage and study for a while and focus on passing the university first. Watching the student getting up on the stage and proposing, the audience started hooting, because the lady was the crush of many boys, and no one wanted another boy to take their crush away from them. They started telling the boy that only giving Lin a banquet of flowers was too old-fashioned, and he was just embarrassing himself. Lin realized that the man had been completely broken from inside, and his courage was completely shattered, so she finally told him that her audience won't let her say yes, even if she wanted to, and added to that, she did not even like the man anyway. So, it was out of the question. The scene shifts to a few hours later, and we see that both Sandy and Chen were walking around the university campus after finishing the freshers' party. But Sandy was shocked to see that Lin was waiting for our boy to appear, asking him as soon as he got near her if he still remembered Lin from 1 month before. Lin was not ready to wait for Chen to answer, immediately telling him and making him remember that Lin was the lady who he helped last month after she got drunk and was lying down onto the road, being abducted by some kidnappers. Chen already remembered everything about it and asked the lady if she had a problem with anything, and if she did not find what Chen did appropriate. Lin was not answering to our boy, just looking at his handsomeness and his ripped body. The lady was already head over heels for him, not able to speak even a single word. Wondering about what the lady wanted, Chen was really confused and finally started going away, telling her that if there was nothing that she wanted to say, then he should go, because he had a company to take care of. Meanwhile, Sandy was not liking the lady at all, knowing that she was only after her brother's money. On the other hand, Lin was thinking that the car which Chen had brought was at least 2 million, and he was wearing a new watch along with a shiny pair of luxury shoes, which were at least 30,000, or even more. For the lady, Chen was the splitting image of someone who was born with a silver spoon, and he was completely opposite to the guy who had proposed her during the event. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was ready in his armor and the 2-foot-long sword that was custom-made. He entered the mysterious town once again, and from Sandy, he came to know that the dark tide was coming, and he will have to find a solution for preventing it to come. Otherwise, everything on the earth will disappear. Chen walked inside the town for a while and stood before a 30 meters deep and 4 or 5 meters tall cave. He smirked, deciding that he will farm a lot of experience by killing the demons inside the dungeon, and after a while, we see that Chen had defeated multiple second-year mutated bone spear demon corpses, and he had gained multiple attribute points for defeating them. After a while, Chen encountered a special demon who was mutated with the ability of controlling flames. Chen was shocked to know that a demon corpse can evolve to wield the power of the flames, and asked the system if he can increase his armor resistance to demon attacks, especially the fire ones. The system adjusted the armor by using 10 attribute points, telling Chen that his armor had fused with materials from demons, and now even he can touch normal fire without getting burned. Getting this ability was kind of an overkill for him. But as the scene shifts, we see that Chen was also controlling the iguana, who was sitting on a shore near the Pacific. He saw that the ocean does not have many deep water fish, and mutated fish were also hard to find. Now, Chen realized that he will have to hunt for the mutated fish in the human-made fish farms. Meanwhile, somewhere underwater, we see that the Godzilla was already humongous. After eating these many mutated fishes and other sea creatures day by day, Chen decided that feeding the iguana with 20 fishes should do nicely for half a day of food and will give him a lot of experience. The scene shifts back, and we see that Chen was still training inside the dungeon, and he had encountered a new type of demon who was a really fast one. The creature was even breaking the speed of sound and was so happy by looking at new meat, jumping towards Chen and ready to slice him into half. Chen realized that this demon was having the sword skills, which are surprisingly nimble, and whenever the creature held a blade, his arm was shaking twice, and the sword's trajectory was changing. Chen realized that if he dragged this fight for too long, it would not be good, and he immediately started dashing towards the demon. But this was what the mutated creature wanted. We see that it was evolved from 2 demons combining with each other. The other head of the demon did a surprise attack and used a flamethrower, spewing a large amount of flames from his mouth. But they did not know that Chen was having a buff, which was preventing him from getting burned. The demon was shocked as Chen used exterminating flame and slashed it into 2 smooth halves, while killing the 5th-tier demon and gaining 100 attribute points. Suddenly, a notification popped up, telling Chen that a fusion core element had been discovered and he can spend 10 attribute points to extract it. Deciding to do whatever the system said, Chen had upgraded his sword with demonic materials, and the weapon had ascended to become extraordinary. Chen decided to test his new level of the weapon and slashed into thin air, creating a torrent of flames which was going towards the direction of the slash with insane speeds. Chen realized that now he can combine the power of flame and lightning to make a blast of energy from his demonic sword. After a few hours have passed, Chen finally got to the other side of the town, where he saw multiple new demons who were also mutated to look like spiders. But the forest was so quiet that he was getting a real uncanny feeling, and the boy decided to return to his warehouse first. As Chen returned, we see that Sandy closed the door of the other world, and looking at that, Chen was surprised realizing that the girl who had become his sister was able to close a formless door, which meant that she had powers over space and time which are more mysterious than he had ever thought. For the time being, Chen decided to not think too much about it, and the system notification popped up, telling him that he can increase his storage space by using 10 attribute points, and Chen did just that, because he was carrying a 2-foot-long sword around in his hands, which was really getting inconvenient. 3 hours have passed, and we see that the iguana has grown 5 or 6 meters long and have gained over 500 evolution points. Meanwhile, the creature was hunting the human-farmed fish, which was tasting way nicer than the sea fish that he had tasted till now. As we come to outside the human farm, we see that a group of people noticed that something was happening to their tuna, even when they have got enough oxygen. One of the humans flashed a huge flashlight onto the water and realized that there was blood in the sea and something was killing the tuna. But as both the humans were disturbing the sea iguana from hunting, the creature immediately swapped his tail and broke the whole ship, sinking it into the sea and clearing all the evidence. As the scene shifts to the next day, we come to the new villa that Chen has brought, and as the boy was walking around, he realized that he have got over 100 attribute points left to assign. He decided to use 40 attribute points to strengthen his chi sense and 60 attribute points to strengthen his spring kick. This power-up caused him to break through the intermediate tier, and his kick was changed into the moonstep attack. Chen realized that his sense has increased from 100 meters to 500 meters, and the moonstep was allowing him to stay in the air for a little while. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was combing Sandy's hair while listening to the news, where the reporter announced that a surprising black fog had appeared in the city, and it was covering over 100 kilometers, and it was causing the disappearance of many people, including reports of over 50. Chen realized that the same thing which happened to the Tiger Mountain town was repeating itself, and he knew that the world's peace would not last much longer. As the scene shifts, we come to the sea of a mysterious island where a submarine was traveling deep within, and it was full of many researchers. We come inside a room in the submarine where a researcher was standing near multiple screens, and a muscular man asked him about how the professor's research was going. The researcher told the man, who was like a half-beast, that the professor has retrieved a special substance from the giant beast's body, and even found the method by which the beast was healing itself. The man wondered about what extraordinary substance was there, because now they can create extraordinary humans if the formula worked. As the submarine resurfaced again, it had come to a mysterious-looking cave where the professor was standing, and the submarine was delivering a miniature nuclear plant, which was going to power something up. As the scene shifts to inside the cave, 2 people were standing near a large chamber, which was encasing a monster, which was looking like the brother of Chen's Godzilla, and the creature was even 10 times bigger than the one we know. After the installation of the nuclear power was complete, the researcher told the main professor that the core power supply has been connected. We see the old professor, who was smiling after looking at the huge monster, telling everyone that the power has entered the beast's body, and it was finally recovering. And as the creature was wearing a metal collar around his neck, it should follow the instructions of the professor, otherwise he should meet his end. The researcher told the professor that he was smarter than even the Einstein, as he was able to control such a giant monster, which was unthinkable by anyone else. Looking at the reaction inside the chamber full of fluids, the professor knew that the beast was going to wake up soon. But what they did not know was that Chen's sea iguana was following them and had saw the whole plan. He realized that if these fellows were trying to revive the giant beast, then they were not good people, and they should just die. The sea iguana climbed onto the cave and was ready to kill each and every one of them, while the professor ordered the researchers to block the gate, or they will all be dead. Meanwhile, the old man decided to flee, telling the researcher that they should go to the submarine. Meanwhile, Multiple guards were trying to throw missiles and nuclear weapons onto the sea iguana, but nothing was affecting the giant creature. Just one stomp of the Godzilla was enough to cause mayhem inside the whole cave. And even when the researcher was running away, he was still scared, wondering if his death was imminent by the hands of such a huge devil. After so many relentless attacks, the iguana was still unharmed, and the soldiers were not able to understand about how a 24mm armor-piercing round and an exploding bullet together were not able to affect the monster even a little bit. The Godzilla started using his lightning powers, wondering about how little normal humans can do against him now. The iguana used ultrasonic roar, and it caused the whole dungeon to vibrate due to the high frequency. This much was enough to devastate all the humans present in the dungeon, but somehow both the researcher and the old man was still alive as they were finally climbing inside the submarine and thinking that they can save themselves. But Chen already knew that they were trying to run away. He was relaxed, because inside the ocean, it was all his territory. But before the creature can even follow the humans, the beast inside the chamber started moving, and a devilish aura surrounded him. Chen was not able to believe that such a giant monster was actually revived with such a terrifying aura. He decided to not get close to the demon and kill him from long range before the creature can even get powerful. Due to such a large amount of explosions, even such a giant creature was not able to do anything, begging the Godzilla to stay away from him because he was not strong enough to take these attacks head-on. As the scene shifts, we see that the system informed Chen that he had found a damaged ancient ruin, and if he wanted to absorb it, even when Chen was confused, wondering about what it was, he decided to absorb it anyways. And after absorbing, the health of the sea iguana was revitalized, and he gained extra 5 evolution points. Chen noticed that after absorbing the ruin, even when the clone was resting, he was gaining even points, and now the creature will not have to hunt all the time. We see that Chen was sitting in a random cafe where Sandy was eating a plate full of a huge cake, finding it really yummy. But suddenly, the boy's phone vibrated and he wondered about who it was. It was the secretary, who asked if Chen was free the next day, and if they should have lunch together. Chen knew that a little indulgence will do no harm, and told the lady that he will pick her up at 11 o'clock. As the scene shifts, we see that Chen was inside the teleportation door once again, killing the monsters of the dungeon while increasing his agility and other points. He was shocked to see that the sword was so sharp that it could probably rip a tank to shreds, as he had killed a 4th-tier demonic creature. He gained 50 attribute points, and suddenly, Chen sensed another monster nearby. After running for a few hours, Chen reached a long caterpillar-like monster, which was growling and was ready to devour anything which came in his way. This caterpillar was so powerful that it even damaged Chen's extraordinary tier armor. The boy wondered about what he should do, using all the 50 attribute points to strengthen his armor even more. But this was helping Chen only a little, because the caterpillar was really overpowered for him, and had even got an energy wall which stopped Chen from attacking the creature directly. The boy knew that he cannot drag this fight any longer, and decided to use Exterminating Flame as the one-hit kill move, and just with that, the caterpillar was slashed into half, and Chen had really killed a 6th-tier demonic creature and gained 200 attribute points. He decided to use 100 points each to strengthen his external chi and crimson flame. As he focused his flame onto his sword, he realized that the temperature of his fire has increased from 3,000 to 10,000 degrees, and his attack distance has also increased to 30 meters, making it easy to take out one dragonfly monster with each strike. Chen was finally sitting inside his room after a long and hard training session, pondering over his abilities, realizing that external chi was increasing his power, and Exterminating Flame was his one-hit, knocked-out move along with Crimson Flame for his long distance, and Chi Sense for sharpening his senses, and this was only the abilities. Chen was also having various demon-repelling armors and weapons which helped him. Now all Chen had to do was to train up his collapsing punch, sky step, and his control over the lightning skill. On the next day, Chen was standing near his luxury car when a junior female student came to him and asked him if they should go and eat lunch, telling the boy that it was on to her for paying. Hearing that, Chen told the lady that they should have seafood. Chen came to his usual go-to-luxury restaurant and ordered his favorite seafood from various countries. The girl who had came with him was shocked to see that the bill was over 70,000, and even after she brought a lot of money. She had only brought 10,000, which was 3 months of her living fees and allowance. Even when the lady did not want to, she asked Chen for lending her some money because she had brought less, promising the boy that she will pay him back later. But Chen, as generous as he is, told the lady that he had already covered the bill and they should enjoy their seafood. The lady was eating the tasty food while she was falling for our boy, telling him that she had heard that Chen had opened a seafood company, which was really amazing to think about. She had also heard from her classmates that Chen did not come to school often because he was busy managing his business. Chen just smuggled, telling the lady that it was not necessarily true because he was busy in slaying monsters and leveling up, so he had no time to manage the company. The girl was a bit shocked after hearing everything, wondering if Chen was just playing some kind of a game while taking leaves from the university. But just then, another crab came into their table, and the lady started enjoying the delicious taste, forgetting about what they were talking about. But Chen was really sad, as a terrible thought came into his mind. He wondered if he would be able to enjoy such luxurious meals even after the apocalypse hits the earth and everything becomes dangerous. After eating the super expensive food was done, Chen took the lady to a luxury goods store where very rich people were coming and going. Some were doing some window dressing, while some were actually buying dresses for themselves or their loved ones. The lady was shocked because after Chen finished the eating, he wanted to go to shopping. After spending 80,000 for a meal and dropping 20 or 30,000 in clothes. The lady had already realized that she could not even buy one of the buttons on Chen's dresses with her living allowance of 2,000 a month. But Chen was not telling her to spend anything and grabbed the lady's hands, telling her that they should go and get some clothes before the shops closed down. But this new gesture by the man sent shivers down the spine of the lady, while she wondered about why Chen was grabbing her hands and if he was thinking that the female was easy. After a few hours of shopping, Chen took it to the billing counter lady and gave her his card to do the billing. The counter lady immediately recognized Lin, thinking that he had already brought a few beautiful ladies with him and spent a lot on them previously. But now, Chen was accompanying an even more beautiful girl, and that was done so quickly, just within a month. After the whole shopping was done, the girl was mesmerized, realizing that Chen had brought her 30,000 worth of clothes, and it was only the first time they have met. She had realized about what Chen was doing and knew that it is what is called spending money like water. The lady was having some dirty thoughts, wondering if Chen would next bring her to a hotel and take all the returns for the money he had spent. But at the same time, we see that Chen was sensing something really ominous in a nearby gym. A dark, red-eyed, shadow-like monster attacked all the gym members, making them run for their lives, while some of them were not lucky enough and even died. Chen was able to sense everything because of his heightened senses from his attribute points, and he immediately told the lady that he had some urgent matters to take care of and that she will have to go back to school. Chen made sure that he will be the one to see off the lady so that she will not find it weird. But this was rather shocking for her because whatever she thought about Chen's intentions was wrong, and he was not doing anything naughty with her. The girl wondered if he was taking things slow or if he was just overthinking. But it was not the reality at all, because Chen knew that if he did something with her without proper control on his outrageous powers, then maybe things would really get out of hands. Chen shifted his mind and realized that a tear in space has appeared nearby, and he started running towards the direction of the gym. Sometime later, Chen started looking through the windows inside the gym, wondering about what the thing he sensed was, because this was the real world, and even then, a polluting aura has appeared all around it. After a while of searching and running all around the gym, Chen finally found out the dark shadow which had emerged out of the space tear. This being was called a polluted monster, and Chen stood near a dark alley where the creature was smiling devilishly, wondering about how Chen had found him in such a short amount of time. But sensing fresh meat of a young man, the monster was not able to control himself, transforming into a rather ugly-looking creature and jumping towards Chen, asking him to die so that he can eat some fresh meat. But all the expectations of the monsters were in vain, because Chen just jumped in the sky and used his low kick skill, killing the low-level polluted monster and gaining 5 attribute points in just one hit. Chen realized that the creature he fought was just polluted with the dark aura and was not demonic, like the dark elf from before. As the scene shifts, we see that the broken head of the polluted creature was resting on the ground, while the department has outlined it with a chalk, restricting its access. The police chief told all the students who have arrived on the scene that he wanted to use this polluted individual to see if the students were training good enough. But someone killed it before they can even arrive on the scene, and by the destruction of the creature and the particles which have flown away so far with burn marks on them, everyone guessed that the human who had killed the monster was actually a really super-powered one who can control the fire element. Even the deputy chief was now in shock, wondering about how someone was able to control flames when there were no records of any such awakened in their corporation. As the scene shifts, we come to Chant's house where he was listening to a report, and the reporter told everyone that an immense number of tears in space have appeared, and it may be a signal that the apocalypse was incoming. Chen realized that the 99th year apocalypse was there, and even when in the past 20 years over 500,000 citizens have died on the battlefield, it was still only enough for 20 years of peace. Humanity was able to enter into an era that seemed to belong to the ordinary people, but now it was the turn of the awakened once again because things were getting out of hand. Chen took out his smartphone and started sending a message to his grandfather, telling him to be safe. But it was still not comprehensive enough. Chen knew that if he wanted to get more information, then he will have to report to the Special City Bureau. He started connecting with the sea iguana, who was a rather large creature and was going after a giant mutated whale. The whale was a dangerous creature who can turn seawater into heavy water with some chemical reactions, but still, that was really useless in front of the Godzilla because he was really able to swim with highly insane speeds. The sea iguana started using his lightning attributes and pierced the blue whale through its face, making it slam down onto the seabed. After defeating the creature, Chen knew that once the Godzilla eats the whale, he will get 10,000 evolution points at least. As the scene shifts, we come to the branch office of the Special City Bureau, where all the students were discussing about how they have found the pollutant nearly obliterated. They knew that whoever have killed that polluted monster was a really good individual. But to them, the power that Chen possessed over the flame was a really rare one, and they wondered if someone who was a normal citizen until now had awakened into a fire type. One of the ladies wondered about who would be able to do it, thinking if it was really Chen. But suddenly, the deputy chief came inside the room of the students, telling them that someone has logged an evolved individual request in the afternoon. The man wanted to know if the students wanted to have a look at the test, and everyone agreed, running out of their rooms and coming to the training hall, where Chen was wearing a spandex outfit with blue stripes, which was able to gauge his overall power. All the students immediately recognized Chen because they were from the same university. They were shocked that they were seeing the guy who was driving a luxury car at school. The lady was glad to see him, and the deputy chief was a bit shocked, knowing that Chen was the one who was killing the wrongdoers. But he had to conduct the test and measure his power and speed. He grabbed a power measuring machine and started explaining that the device can display up to 15,000 kilograms of force, and all Chen had to do was to just hit it with all his might. Meanwhile, the students were looking at Chen from a distance, wondering about how strong he really was and how many stars he will get in the evolution test. They had already guessed that if he was an awakened, then maybe he was the one who had killed the polluted monster, and that means that the boy was stronger than them for sure. Everyone was thinking that maybe Chen was having a 4-star attribute, and some said that he will definitely have 3. But from the confidence that our boy had possessed, some of the students wondered if he would be able to break the testing equipment. One girl was not ready to believe in it, telling them that the deputy chief was an evolved individual as well, and he was only at 10,000 points. But all this discussion suddenly stopped as they heard a deafening bang onto the machine, and it displayed the number of 12,186 kilograms. All the students gasped as they realized about how powerful Chen actually was, making him a 5-star individual. But on the other hand, Chen did not want to hit this hard and wanted his stars to be a bit lower. The deputy chief finally started speaking and told Chen that, as per the standards of getting 5 stars, he can now collect 50,000 at the Special City Bureau every month. And if he was willing to join them as a permanent employee, then he will be paid even more, while being promoted to vice head of the department. Hearing that was useless for Chen, and he decided to decline the offer, telling the chief that he wanted to fly as solo. The chief was really curious and asked the boy if he was the one who killed the polluted monster. Chen knew that he cannot hide it anymore, agreeing to this fact. The officer already knew that Chen had the power over flames, and with his talent, he might be taken on by the fighting god as a disciple. But for Chen, that was a really low-leveled ceiling of possibility, and leveling up his Godzilla was way more beneficial for him. But for now, this has to be a secret for everyone's benefit. Even after the chief tried to persuade Chen in joining them, the boy kept on declining, and on the very next day, a special announcement was put onto the Special City Bureau, telling everyone that Chen had passed the evolution test. He was the first-ranking individual among all the evolved civilians with the 5-star rating. Everyone was commenting with shock in the forum, not able to believe that someone with 5 stars in the top ranking had finally arrived. Looking at this news, everyone started calling out to Chen, asking him to take care of them in the future. Chen was just smiling and telling everyone that they should not worry as he cut the last call of Manager Lee. For Chen, everything was changed now, and even classmates who have not seen him in years have called to congratulate him. He was feeling like a god amongst men. On the other hand, after eating the giant whale, the Godzilla was 90 meters long, and Chen's physique was increased by 1,800 points, along with his strength increase of 70 tons. Chen started to lay down onto his costly couch, while realizing that with his outer covering, he could take an armor-piercing round, and if the stars would have been greater than 5, then he would definitely get 7 or 8 stars if he had gone on to the machine with full power. Chen previously thought that a 7-star rating should be the max that any awakened individual can hit. There's still a definite gap in power between that and the 10-star fighting gods. Chen was worried, thinking that in a peaceful world, even if his power were to increase every day, the absence of an equally strong opponent would leave him with an unshakable sense of emptiness. However, everything was different now. The apocalypse had come, and horrifying monsters had stepped through space-time into his reality. He was very happy because now countless powerful awakened individuals, evolved individuals, and gods of war would all step onto the stage. Chen was confident that at the rate he was growing, he would soon be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with those gods, but he was not going to stop there. He was determined to surpass them and become an even more powerful being. While he was thinking all this, suddenly he received messages on his phone. When he checked, he saw some messages in his office group chat. The first message was from Leng Yu, Chen's secretary, who, sending a surprise emoji, asked Chen if he was an evolved individual. Lin, the girl from the front desk, replied to Leng Yu that their boss had been long past the awaiting stage forever. He's a 5-star individual. Hui Hui, who was the IT technician, praised Chen, saying he is amazing. Chen acted modestly and sent a message telling everyone that it's nothing, and they would all get there eventually. It's just that he was a few days ahead. Lin messaged again saying she wanted to become awakened like her boss. She was determined, saying it'd be amazing if she could evolve into an angel so that she could grow beautiful wings. Leng Yu, with a disdainful expression, replied to Lean that she can't control what she evolves into, so she might become a toad too. Angry, Lean told Ling Yu to shut up. Seeing them fighting like children, Chen laughed and then wrote again, saying, "No slacking on the job." All three of the girls replied with, "Okay, boss," and then got back to their work. The next day, Chen went to his warehouse at the docks. He summoned his equipment from his inventory and got equipped in his full body armor. Shi was also there. Chen asked Shi to let them return. Hearing Chen, Shi created the other dimension door. She opened the door and told Chen that he could go in. While going inside, Chen asked Shi to wait here and not move. He would go and take a look. Just as Chen stepped inside, the whole environment changed completely. The smell inside made him understand immediately that something was off. In front of him was a completely new dimension full of flames and magma. Seeing that, Chen wondered if this door brought them to a new place every time they opened it. Looking at Shi behind the door, Chen understood that if they want to be sure of the world that lies behind that door, she's got to keep it open. He was worried that if they did that, what if some even more terrifying monster learns of the door's existence? Chen remembered the blue-eyed monster that had chased him that day. It could have deduced the location of the door from where Chen vanished and sent the sausage monster over to chase him. But once the door closes, it brings Chen to another location when he opens it again, so he would have to explore that location anew. Chen smiled, knowing that it is a completely randomly generated world. With excitement, Chen declared that it's not bad either. But while he was thinking all this, suddenly a system notification came, telling Chen that the extremely high temperatures here would kill most living beings in seconds. Suddenly, a very warm wind flowed towards him. Chen's crimson flames could offset the burning effect of the high temperatures. Seeing the wind, Chen smiled because this warm wind even felt kind of refreshing to him. But suddenly, a system notification came telling Chen that his body was being affected by the polluting substances here. His body's immunity had succeeded in temporarily blocking the effect of the polluted substances, but his resistance would last for 15 hours. Chen was surprised to see the notification. He understood that no matter how resilient his body is, it seems that it can't completely resist the effects of this pollution. Chen was a little jealous because after feeling the heat, he now knew that those awakened individuals and war gods would be completely unaffected, as they really are insanely powerful. Chen was a little sad, but didn't dwell on it for long because he had no time to lose, as he needed to explore what this world had to offer. He activated his senses and began scanning the area around him. He could scan a kilometer of the area in one go, and did so for quite a while. However, to his surprise, he didn't find a single trace of life or any monsters. The place was completely barren. Disappointed, Chen said, "It's no surprise because such a hellish environment wouldn't be conducive to life in the first place." He was about to ask Shi to open another door when, unbeknownst to him, a monster covered in flames emerged from behind him. When the monster got near, Chen sensed its presence and immediately turned around. He turned with super speed and swung his sword at the fire monster. Chen's sword cut the monster's body in two, but the monster didn't die and rejoined its body. The monster then looked at Chen and smiled. This monster was a poisonous smoke monster with a difficulty level of 3. Chen was a little surprised to see that monster because he hadn't even noticed it was behind him just moments ago. He realized that this world had something to it. The fire monster immediately charged at Chen with full speed, but when it tried to hit him, its attack was blocked by Chen's crimson flames, which formed a protective barrier around him. The monster immediately backed off. Seeing that, Chen realized it wasn't his senses that failed to pick up on this monster. It was because this monster was not alive at all. After understanding that this monster was just a spirit, Chen got ready to use his thunder attack, saying, "Since this is a filthy monster, I'll have to use the evil spirit-repelling thunder to disperse it." Chen activated his evil spirit-repelling thunder just as he saw the fire monster approaching. The monster was confused to see Chen using thunder. Chen collected thunder in his hands and created an electric arrow. Then with full power, he shot it at the fire monster. Before the monster could dodge or escape, Chen's electric arrow hit it and pierced its body, creating a huge hole in its stomach. The fire monster screamed in pain when it got hit, and its fire started to disappear, leaving only a skeleton behind. A skeleton head was all that remained of the fire monster as it fell to the ground. A system notification informed Chen that he had killed a third-tier strange monster and obtained 20 stat points. When Chen found out that it was a third-tier monster, he felt it was strange because it looked powerful, as it had the special ability to render physical attacks useless. Chen couldn't harm it at all just now. Plus, it might be because it was born in lava, but fire attacks were also useless. So, with all that, how could it be only third tier? Chen thought he might just be lucky that he happened to have the talents needed to counter it on hand. If not, this fight would have been extremely difficult. While he was thinking all this, suddenly Shi came there. Chen sensed her presence and turned around, only to be shocked to see her. He went to her asking, "Didn't I ask you to wait outside the door? Why did you come out? It's dangerous in here." As Shi couldn't talk properly, she just told Chen that she was worried as it's dangerous. Chen was at a loss for words when he heard that she came here because she was worried for him. But he knows that whatever the case may be, the place outside the door is not safe for her. He patted her head, telling her to stay far behind him and not move closer under any circumstances. But when his hand touched Shi's head, she disappeared like an illusion. Chen was surprised seeing that, but suddenly he heard some noise from the background. To check what it was, he activated his senses to scan the surroundings. But before he could find where the noise came from, suddenly the rock Chen was standing on broke into pieces, releasing magma from everywhere. Shocked, Chen immediately jumped from that rock to escape the magma. And then, while jumping from one rock to another, he checked his surroundings. When he found the highest point of that place, he went towards it. The highest point he found turned out to be a huge rock pillar. Surprised, when Chen looked behind, he saw many rock pillars, same as the one he was standing on, all chained together creating a circle. When Chen looked closely, he saw magic runes engraved on those rocks. Seeing that, Chen smiled because he could call it a building, but it looked more like a seal or a prison, and it could completely hide a huge monster's aura. Just as Chen thought, there was indeed a monster hiding, using that seal. Chen walked towards that monster and said, "So the real treasure hidden in this world was you all along." The sealed monster Chen was talking to was Vandenfeld Fiery Wings, a true dragon. Chen didn't even want to imagine the kind of stats that dragon had. Seeing that Chen had found it, the dragon stood up and shouted, "Foolish humans, challenging me without a care for your lives. How laughable." While trying to show himself strong in front of Chen, the dragon told him that this is his world, and Chen is an intruder. Since Chen had come before him, he would be merciful and give Chen two choices. He could bury Chen here, of course. Not even Chen's ashes would be left to bury. As for the other option, he would be delighted to have a new servant. So as long as Chen kneels and recognizes Vandenfeld's power. Hearing the dragon's words, Chen smiled and told the dragon that he didn't want anything to do with him, but was interested in the dragon's bones. Saying that, Chen walked towards the dragon. Hearing Chen's words, the dragon became furious, shouting, "How dare a mere human be so arrogant in front of me?" The dragon raised its wings in anger, and following its anger, the magma river's flow got stronger. Along with that, hundreds of fire monsters like before emerged from the magma and surrounded Chen. Seeing those monsters following the dragon's orders, Chen smiled because he thought poisonous smoke monsters were impressive. How silly of him to think that, as they all were just puppets. Suddenly, a thought came into Chen's mind. He asked the dragon if turning into those monsters could be a consequence of agreeing to be the dragon's servant. Hearing Chen, the dragon got even more angry and ordered those fire monsters to kill him and pull his corpse into the river of lava. Following the dragon's orders, all those fire monsters charged at Chen from all directions. Seeing them coming from all directions, Chen smiled and then moved. He moved with lightning speed towards all the monsters in the blink of an eye, and using his thunder punch, he destroyed all those fire monsters and their bodies. The dragon could not even follow Chen's movement, asking what just happened and how his servants disappeared in an instant. After killing all those fire monsters, Chen arrogantly walked towards the dragon and said, "Now that I think about it, having a black dragon as a pet does sound interesting." Hearing his provocation, the black dragon got serious, and his eyes turned red as he looked at Chen. But Chen was not scared, and asked the dragon how about he be Chen's servant instead. Chen's words were enough to awaken the dragon's madness. It roared and smashed the ground, and the ground underneath Chen's feet broke and magma came out. But Chen was not going down that easily. He took out his flame sword to attack, and when the dragon tried to charge at him, Chen first balanced his footing and then smiled, telling the dragon that he would cut him. Saying that, Chen swung his sword with full power, aiming at the dragon. The dragon tried to dodge Chen's attack, but chains on the dragon's neck stopped him from moving out of the way fully. Chen's sword strike slightly touched the dragon's neck before passing. The dragon started bleeding yellow blood. This made the dragon too angry. Its eyes turned bright red as it stood on its two back legs, shouting, "Human, watch me send you to hell." The dragon inhaled air into its mouth, and then, with full power, used its Hell Dragon Flame skill, shooting flames at Chen. When Chen saw the dragon shooting flames, he immediately placed his sword in front and used his red flame body skill. Immediately, a protective barrier appeared around Chen, which blocked the dragon's fire breath from reaching Chen's body. After blocking the dragon's fire breath, Chen mocked the dragon, asking if this was the power it was proud of. Hearing Chen, the dragon became furious and inhaled fire from the magma into its mouth. With bloodthirst in its eyes, the dragon looked at Chen and said, "Turn into ashes." Saying that, it used its Hell Dragon Flame skill and shot a very powerful flame beam at Chen. After shooting the flame beam, it stopped and said that in this world, no one can withstand his Hell Dragon Flame for even a second. It thought Chen had died, but suddenly a shadow appeared in the smoke. That was Chen's shadow. He emerged from the smoke unscathed and mocked the dragon again, saying he thought the dragon would be so powerful, but it turns out it was only slightly better than an oversized hairdryer. The dragon was shocked to see Chen completely fine, even after getting hit by its Hell Dragon Flame. It tried to shoot flames again, but Chen didn't give it any chance to attack. Using his lightning, he jumped at the dragon, kicked the dragon's mouth, making the dragon shoot flames into its own mouth. The dragon's mouth exploded with a huge fire explosion. Chen swung his sword mid-air and dodged the explosion of fire. He landed on the ground and told the dragon that he has the extraordinary power of fire and the energy stance of the Emperor Demon Armor, so his defense against fire is almost maxed out now. With confidence, he told the dragon that he can almost ignore the temperature of its dragon breath. The dragon was surprised to find that Chen actually has the ability to be immune to his dragon breath. The dragon came out of the magma onto the ground, telling Chen that now he is a bit interested in him. But all that was an act. When Chen was in the dragon's range, it charged at Chen shouting, "So what if you have fire entity? I will tear you to pieces with my sharp teeth." Saying that, the dragon tried to bite Chen, but little did the dragon know that Chen can move with lightning speed. Chen easily dodged the dragon's mouth and jumped high in the air, giving him enough momentum to aim at the dragon. He landed on the dragon's neck and pierced his fire sword into the dragon's back, but he was not going to stop there. He smiled as he grabbed his sword with both hands, and then, using his lightning speed, he ran on the ground's back while cutting its back with his sword. But just as Chen was cutting, his sword hit something tough, which was inside the dragon's back. Chen was surprised and confused at the same time, but before he could think of anything, the dragon turned to attack, so Chen jumped off its back while releasing his sword. Just as Chen jumped off, the dragon's skin turned red. Seeing that, Chen said, "As expected of you, you are called Firewing, so you can actually turn red." Chen then activated his beast connection, telling the dragon that now it's his final moment of struggle. Chen's Godzilla's power started dominating Chen's blood. Chen's eyes turned red as fire marks started to appear on his face, and his whole body got covered in flames. Chen told the dragon that this is the new move he just learned from the dragon's Hell Flame blood explosion. Seeing that Chen dared to steal his abilities, the dragon got furious and charged at him with full power to kill him in one go. But after using his beast connection and this new skill, Chen's speed and strength were increased significantly. He moved to his right and dodged the dragon's mouth. Now the dragon's neck was right in front of Chen, and he didn't give the dragon any chance to react. With full power, Chen swung his sword at the dragon's neck and sliced it into two. Chen's fire sword cut the dragon's neck as if it was cutting butter. The dragon's head rolled around on the ground, and a system notification informed Chen that he had killed a level 5 dragon monster and gained 1,000 attributes. With burning flames in his eyes, Chen called the dragon trash, saying it didn't stand a chance. Just as the dragon died, suddenly Shishi's illusion appeared there. She got near the dragon saying, "Brother Chen is awesome, and the fire dragon is dead." On the other hand, after killing the dragon, Chen's fire form faded away. Looking at his body, Chen said, "With the strengthening effect brought by my 4,000 points of physical strength, only 1/10 of the chi and blood was burned. But the power generated was so terrifying. This level of physical damage is barely enough to keep up with my recovery ability." Chen looked at the fire in his hand and decided that this form is called Blood Explosion Form 1. That's all for today, everyone. See you all in the next video.